Hey everybody, and happy Friday. It's JJ back again here on the ASUS social channels. We're getting ready to kick off another. This is actually, I think, number 60 of the ASUS PCDIY hardware live stream. So hopefully everybody is wrapping up the week on a positive and productive footing. Everybody's staying safe, staying healthy. We've got a really cool product announcement. If you guys didn't already see it in the banner, or you guys are not, of course, part of the ASUS PCDIY group or our social channels, you might not be aware we have a brand new ROG Delta gaming headset with the brand new ROG Delta S wireless. I'm super excited to be able to go ahead and talk about it in this stream. It's probably been the #1 most requested headset, I think, in terms of our product lineup, really over the last year. People have been asking, are you going to come out with a wireless? Are you going to come out with a wireless? And are you going to come out with a wireless version of the Delta? And I'm very happy to say that we finally are going to have a wireless Delta with the brand new Delta S wireless. In addition to that, we've got some cool specific UEFI updates we're going to dive into as well, continuing on what we always do every week. We give you guys insight in terms of the new UEFI releases that we have, predominantly this week around not AMD, but actually Intel. And for those of you that are actually running platforms like Z690 and 12th Gen series CPUs, you may want to go ahead and take a look at this 1500 series UEFI release for even a better DDR5 operating experience, as well as we're going to, of course, break down a cool number of systems that we've got that you have submitted for the PC Builder Spotlight. So also dropping in a couple of different promos that we have some really awesome actually promotions right now with probably the overall best 1440p monitor you can get on the market, with the ROG Swift PG279QM being on sale for $150, as well as some other sweet promos that we have for motherboards, peripherals, and a few other items that we'll be jumping into. So let's see who we have joining us here on the stream. Hey, Snef is already here. Of course, the one and the only, the masterclass builder himself is asking us, hey, is there going to be a white version of the Delta S? I'll be talking about that in a little bit, but as of right now, no, there will only be one version in terms of the actual colorway for the Delta S wireless. So pretty sweet there. Let's go ahead and see. Thanks for the love here. We've got Pidgey PCs joining us. Fantastic. We've got H2O Computers also joining us as well. Jeff is sending us a hello and a happy Friday. Fantastic to have you here so much. Thank you so much. Hey, Jacob is bright. Happy to have you here. Michael, always great to have you here. And the Green Knight as well. All right, so let's get ready to go ahead and jump into it, and we will get things moving along. Oh, hey, Erica, as always, thanks for letting us know. Also, the audio sounding good, so thank you so much. So first things first, let's go ahead and give a little bit of an update in terms of our UEFI BIOS announcements. We have probably about 30 odd, I think, UEFI releases. I'll be posting these a little bit later in the PCDIY group, which again, if you guys are not part of the PCDIY group, it's a great community that we have of over 30,000 members of like-minded ASUS PCDIY enthusiasts, where we talk about everything when it comes to PCDIY, building, modding, overclocking, water cooling, RAM tweaking. It doesn't matter. It's all covered there in the group, and it's also the best place to find out about all the latest and greatest in terms of what ASUS is doing. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we have here in terms of our UEFI updates. So the majority of the actual updates this time around are actually going to be for Z690 series motherboards. So the last big update that we issued was a little while ago with the 1400 series. Now at this point, I would already qualify all Z690 series motherboards as being what I would state as being mature. That means stable, reliable. You don't have to worry about kind of continual UEFI updates to be able to get a stable and reliable experience. And I'd even say in terms of overclocking and DRAM overclocking, it's very solid and very mature, but we're always definitely working to be able to fine tune and optimize and even enhance the overall kind of performance when possible. And what we've seen, if you guys have watched the last few streams, is also partners have been working to aggressively ramp their DDR5 binning, which means that they've actually been putting out faster and faster kits. And they have also been fine-tuning actually the availability of larger density configurations, where the majority of memory that we initially saw at DDR5's launch was generally going to be, I'd say, 16 gigabyte kits and some 32 gigabyte kits, right? But now we've stepped into not only higher frequency 32 gigabyte kits, but we've also seen the introduction of some 64 gigabyte kits. And in this regard, we've also worked to fine tune the interoperability and compatibility for even 4 DIMM scaling. Now, keep in mind that there's always the reality of actually what is referred to as the base chipset operating parameters. And you still have to keep in mind that the IMC heavily influence the scaling level of the memory. But with this 1500 series, we think that there's going to be a little bit of even a further improvement for those that are looking for even a better scaling experience. So maybe you're looking to be able to push a little bit more, then you would definitely want to try this UEFI out. Do keep in mind that if you want to find out more in specifics, I actually have a dedicated post that's called DDR5 Insights that has been posted in the PCDIY group that helps you to better understand things like rank, density, IC, and population, and how that actually affects your DDR5 operating experience. But let's go ahead and quickly just take a look at what that would look like from a UEFI update perspective. So give me 1 second here, and we will load this up and show you guys kind of what this looks like here. Okay, great. So if we take a look right here, I've gone ahead and loaded up the page for our Maximus Z690 Hero. So this is one of my absolute favorite boards in, of course, our Z690 series lineup. And you can see right here that if I go ahead and, of course, zoom in a bit, but you can see that the latest UEFI is right from the second. And you'll see right here, it is that version 1505. And the 1505, like I said, this is part of kind of our continuation of the prior release, which was in the 1400 series, which was also about helping to kind of maximize and fine tune and extend DRAM overclocking, while actually also introducing new microcode from Intel. So you can go ahead and download that. If you're not familiar with all the different aspects that you do want to keep in mind when you update, again, strongly recommend that you make sure to check out the update post that I have in the PCDIY group that actually goes through an array of FAQ questions, as well as a link to our UEFI update video, which guides you step by step on how to do the UEFI flash if you've never done it before. And also, like I said, critically allows you to kind of keep in mind some important things that you would want to know if you're going to be upgrading from one build to another build. All right, great. Let me go ahead and just see if we've got any questions on that side. And I will have that post a little bit up later in the day for those of you that are wondering about kind of which specific models that we'll be having. Hey, Peter, I'll definitely be answering those questions on in terms of the ROG Delta S wireless. So thanks for dropping them in there. And I'll definitely keep that in mind in terms of answering dual kind of connection functionality. Okay. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and drop in, I think, some general kind of giveaway announcements. So we do actually still have some active promotions that are going on. So I want you guys to make sure that if you haven't already got in on them, that you do want to go ahead and take advantage of them. So let me go ahead and bring up all my corresponding links right here, because we still actually have a good number of giveaways that are going on. So let me go ahead and bring up all of the giveaways, and we will drop these in the chat there as well. So if you're not taking advantage of them, then you can take advantage of them. Okay. So let's go. I think first, let's go with X670. Okay. So first up, we still have an active giveaway right here that is for our recent announcement on AM5, right? So for those of you knowing, it's going to be coming soon. Of course, the release of Ryzen 7000 series processors based on the Zen 4 architecture, and of course, a brand new chipset with the 600 series chipset from AMD. And so we actually covered this in a prior live stream. So if you want to find out more about this, check out that prior live stream. You can watch it on YouTube, or you can go ahead and also check out our featured announcement in the PCDIY group. But all you need to do to have your opportunity to win one of 3 of our flagship Crosshair X670E Extreme Series motherboards. You have the opportunity to do that, or we also have right here a swag box containing a brand book, playing cards, notebook, baseball cap, towel, lanyard, flag, and patches. So 6 different prizes that'll be available to our essentially entrants, right? And you can see it is running until the end, until about the middle of this month, the 18th of June. So all you got to do is just click on these links right here for the Gleam applet. It is a worldwide giveaway. So if you haven't done it, get in on it because you've got an opportunity to win an amazing board. Keep in mind, of course, this board is really stacked. Of course, it's going to have everything from Wi-Fi 6E to supporting up to 5 M.2 drives, an ESS Saber DAC built on board. It's got the Q release technology, tons of RGB lighting, anime matrix, all kinds of great stuff. Of course, it's an extreme board, so rest assured you're going to be getting the best of the best when it comes from ASUS and ROG. So that is going to be our first giveaway. All right, so let me go ahead and drop that in the chat there for you guys. and you guys can take advantage of that giveaway. All right. Our next giveaway has, I believe, about 8 days left that is still going on right here. And this is your opportunity to actually get in on this. This is a pretty cool giveaway that we have going on. We actually partnered over with the studios that created Dying Light 2, which is a really cool game. And it's actually got a really cool upcoming update in terms of DLC that I'm really excited about. So if you actually want to be able to win the collector's edition, which is valued at about $230, again, you can go ahead and jump in on it. This is a fantastic game too. If you've got a 30 series GPU, it's probably one of the most impressive graphics engines that's available right now. It has a really impressive ray tracing implementation. It's got global illumination. It's got DLSS. I mean, this is just a really dynamic and impressive game visually, and it's got a really interesting kind of world environment too as well. But it's got an awesome opportunity to be able to win the full collector's box. And again, you just got to get in on it. And if you didn't know, another kind of cool little side story to this is actually we supplied part of the development team with our flagship our PA Pro Art Series monitor to help to actually do some of the HDR mastering for this game. So our highest end PA32 UCX, UCG, it's a 1400 nit mini LED high zone HDR based display. And so with that, they were actually able to really kind of jump in and master, because they could also balance out by not only having great color coverage and great HDR performance, but even higher refresh rate, because that Pro Art Series monitor even supports 120 hertz operation. So it's a great monitor for them from that kind of creation side, and helps to show the strength of it. ASUS, we don't just do gaming related, but we do tons of stuff for content creators within our Pro Art series of products. So again, a really great giveaway opportunity. So if you haven't got in on it, make sure to get in on it. You got 8 days left. Let me see right here. Armin's asking, let me see right here. Is the ROG formula going to get a new UEFI soon? That would already be, I would say, what's called a feature mature board. So generally for most motherboards, if you actually read the featured post that we have in terms of the UEFI updates, you'll see that generally the release cycle for most motherboards is probably about, I'd say 14 to about 18 months is the general kind of release cycle. After that, you don't generally see continued updates because boards have reached their maturity level. And that's also an actually end of life product too. So it no longer is actively produced. That board though did even get support for a course update for full Windows 11 certification. So like I said, feature stable and reliable. So if you haven't maybe checked out the latest releases that are available, you can check those out on the service and support side. Unlike kind of current generation boards, which are still actively being sold and being developed, those are the ones that generally are going to see the most frequent, still consistent UEFI releases. But you never know. There are some boards that, even after 2 years can sometimes see occasional UEFI releases for varying reasons. Okay, so let's go over and did I drop that link? Okay, yes, I did drop that link in there for the Dying Light giveaway. We got the Crosshair giveaway, and next up, we've got, of course, another giveaway, and this one is pretty insane. So if you guys haven't checked out GPU Tweak 3, this is our brand new graphics card utility. It will work on all ASUS series graphics cards, new and old. So it doesn't matter whether you got a Strix graphics card, tough gaming graphics card, a dual graphics card, KO, Phoenix, Turbo. It will work for any one of them, and it will even work if maybe you're one of those guys that's running a competitor's graphics card. It will also work on competitors based graphics cards. We actually did a full kind of overview along with the demo, and we'll actually have an advanced kind of dedicated live stream and guide coming out in probably the next couple of weeks, diving further even into GPU Tweak. One of the cool things that we are doing right now to continue to get people's feedback, even though we actually have run the development of GPU Tweak 3 in beta for over a year. And so we took a huge amount of feedback to really be able to ensure the kind of the feature set and the functionality really met with kind of the community's kind of confirmation. And we're really excited about now releasing the version 1.5 feature stable launch build. And as part of this, we're doing a really cool giveaway right here where we are giving away a lot of graphics cards. So first place prize is an ROG Strix LC 3090 Ti. This is an absolute monster graphics card. It's pretty much the fastest graphics card you can get on the market. It's cool, it's quiet, it's fast, and it looks really cool, right? Plus, we're going to give you a beefy power supply to be able to pair up with that graphics card, because you might not have a power supply to be able to run a 3090 Ti. So we got you covered with our latest, not the first generation, but the latest Thor 2 1,000-watt power supply, which is also PCI Gen 5 ready, right? It's got that beautiful, of course, OLED display. It has RGB lighting, right? It's got Lambda certification, right? Platinum certification. It's just an awesome PSU, and you're going to get that in the first place prize. Second place prize, guess what? A 3080 Ti tough gaming graphics card, absolutely monstrous card, cool, quiet, and fast. We're also pairing that up with an 850-watt power supply. Do keep in mind, though, that here there may be some variation, that it could also potentially be an RX 6950 XT, which is still an amazing graphics card, as we produce both AMD and NVIDIA-based graphics cards. Third prize is you're going to have a 3070 Ti ROG Strix series, or an ROG Strix RX 6800 GPU and an 850-watt power supply. Fourth prize steps down to a 3060 Ti and then a tough gaming 750-watt power supply. And fifth prize is going to be a 3050 ROG Strix based graphics card. So overall, a fantastic range of prizes. And then even beyond graphics cards, we're giving away our latest graphics card holders with the Herculex, the Wingwall, and the ROG Strix graphics card holder. So again, all you got to do, drop us some feedback. Try out GPU Tweak 3. It's easy. It's not hard, right? So just check out the videos, answer some questions, and let us know what you think. We'd love to have your feedback, and you have the opportunity to win some awesome, really awesome hardware. Okay, so let's go ahead and drop the link in there as well. Hey, Jen, if you've found an issue, make sure to go ahead and actually use the submission form. So let me actually show you what that looks like specifically here. So one of the things that we also did do specifically for GPU Tweak 3 in terms of the beta development now, but also moving forward, is that we do have a dedicated feedback module. So what that means is you don't have to worry about sending an email or kind of going through kind of a complicated process. All you need to do is just go to the feedback section, and you can click this little send feedback button, and we have a built-in pop-up module which allows you to kind of fill out all the information that we need, because to be frank, a lot of times users might say certain things, but they do a really poor job of giving us information to correctly debug things. So here we actually guide you through specifically the information that we need so that we can debug and evaluate and find out what it is that you're maybe having an issue with. You can upload your images, and then you can submit it, and that gets sent directly to our development team so that we can help to refine that and then improve upon that within a next build for the actual application. Okay. All right. Very, very cool. We dropped the link in there as well. And guess what? We're still not done. We got more giveaways. All right. So let's go ahead and see what else we've got here. We have another giveaway right here where we've partnered with our friends over from Cherry. Cherry, of course, is a fantastic manufacturer of switches, and we have long utilized Cherry switches on many of our products, although we do also now have our own switches with the ROG NX and ROG RX-based switches. But Cherry continues to be a great partner for us, and they use a fantastic series of switches, and we've decided to pair up with them to be able to give away 5 of this awesome keyboard that you see right here. This is the ROG Falchion. It's a 65% wired and wireless keyboard. It has your arrow keys, outstanding battery life, really cool kind of RGB design. It has actually a touch bar integrated that you can customize, hardware lighting adjustment, multiple onboard memory profiles. It's a sweet keyboard, okay? And we're going to be giving away 6 of them with the red base Cherry MX switches. So again, if you haven't got to it, this one's only got 2 days left. So if you want to get in on it. That one is going to be Twitter specific. So let me go ahead and drop the link there for you guys, and you guys can take advantage of that one. All right. All right. And last but not least, we've got one more giveaway here. And this is going to be for our friends up north, specific to Canada. Okay, as always, for any giveaway, make sure that you do check your terms and conditions. Sometimes, we're limited to only maybe having it be for the United States. Sometimes some of these other ones, like, with the X670 or GPU Tweak, they might be worldwide. And then in rare situations, not as often as we'd like to do them, but in some situations, they might actually be just limited to like our friends in Canada. So if you are in Canada, guess what? You get an opportunity to win a really awesome giveaway. This one is going to be our Father's Day giveaway, which is a full gaming suite, which you can see right here. We've partnered with our friends over at Newegg for Newegg Canada, and we're giving away an entire ROG gaming system with a Core i7 processor, an RTX 3070 graphics card, a massive ROG Strix XG49BQ 49-inch ultra-wide high refresh rate gaming monitor, an ROG Theta 7.1 quad ESS Saber DAC USB-C headset with ASUS AI noise canceling, and then our flagship ROG Throne USB hub, Qi wireless charging, and headset holder. So that whole pack is something that you're going to have the opportunity to win. I don't actually even know the total value of that system. You're talking definitely a few $1,000s alone for the entirety of that system, but it's an awesome giveaway, and make sure to go ahead and take advantage of it. It's going to be ending in the not too distant future. So if you want to get in on it, get on it. 20 days left, right? And all you got to do is just join in on that Gleam applet, and you're good to go. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and drop this link there in the chat as well. Michael says we'll need a new desk for that 49-inch. Yeah, that could be a chance. You know, when you go with a monitor that big, you might have to go with a new desk. Although, if you guys don't know, actually, I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I can bring it up here. I'm pretty sure the ROG desk mount kit works for that 49-inch, which that's really great because you could just put it to the back of your desk. So even if you don't have the biggest space, mount it to the back via the C clamp, and bam, you're good to go. And I'm pretty sure the desk mount kit works for that model. Let me bring it up here. Let's see here. So for those of you that are not aware, what I'm referring to is we actually released an ROG desk mount kit. This is a C clamp design. It works with an extensive number of our monitors. So for the users that kind of want to have a cleaner design and setup for their desk and they don't want to take up as much space, they can buy this little accessory. It's pretty cheap, and you can just mount your monitor to it. Mount it on the C clamp. You still get height adjustment and some other aspects because those functions are built into our kind of back stand that we have in terms of our monitor. And you can see how it looks right here. It looks really, really clean. So even if you had that 49-inch model, it would work out nicely. So let me see, 23, 24, 27, 32. Yep, right there. Even the 49-inch is compatible with the ROG desk mount kit. So, you know, maybe then you don't have to buy a new desk. You just get the ROG desk mount kit, right? All right. Very, very cool. Hey, Dev, happy to have you here on the stream. Thanks so much for joining us. Hopefully you get in on all those awesome giveaways that we just announced. So they are all hopefully linked in the chat. So everybody, best of luck to you. Get in on those giveaways while you can. I know that we always have people asking us, can you give away stuff? And, you know, while we try to do as much as we can, the reality is that I think probably in the last, 6 months, we've probably done maybe close to 40 plus giveaways. So we have done a lot of giveaways. Okay. All right. So I think that wraps up all our giveaways for today. Let me go ahead and just check these off right here, and we will keep moving things along. All right. Perfect. Okay. Very cool. All right. So we got our GPU Tweak 3 giveaway, Dying Light giveaway, and then that. Okay. UEFI announcements are good to go there. Okay, perfect. So next up, let's go ahead and jump into some promotions that I want to be able to go ahead and touch on. And then we're going to get into the ROG Delta S wireless, which for me is one of the most exciting products that we have in terms of a new addition to our headset lineup. So first things first, let's go ahead and just touch on here our ASUS Infinity program. So if you guys aren't aware, ASUS Infinity is something that we recently rolled out. I've talked about it in a couple of the other prior live streams, which is our new promotion page, which is updated with up-to-date new promotions that we have actively going on many of our product categories. So you can see right here for motherboards, we've got some updated promotions right now. Z590 series motherboard, you can see that you're going to be able to save $70 on the Z590-A. That's awesome. That's a white motherboard that we have. You get PCI Gen 4 support, you get a Wi-Fi 6 built on, you get Bluetooth 2.5 gig LAN, you get AI overclocking, AI cooling, Hydra node headers, you know, tons of really great features, $70 off. And the reality is that while you got 12th gen, 11th gen on that platform is still really impressive, especially with that ASUS AISC. So easy to even be able to get even a few more 100 megahertz there and be able to have really impressive performance. Tough gaming model, you can see right there, some nice value savings. Z590E, also $70 off. The Prime, also coming in at a nice discount. Wow, is that $80? $80 off the Maximus Z590 Hero motherboard. And then even AMD's getting in some love there too with a nice little savings of 20 bucks for the B550-F. So you guys now want to consistently be checking out the Asus Infinity page so you can make sure to get up to date on the latest and greatest promos. You know, even if you're just occasionally shopping, it's great because, like I said, 20 bucks saved here, maybe 50 bucks saved here, maybe even, like I said, 70 bucks there. Monitors on promotion, wide range of monitors. We've got routers on promotion, gaming peripherals, even graphics cards here. You can see we actually got some pretty nice promos, even for some of the higher end cards where you've got maybe $100, maybe $150 off. And power supplies. So that is a nice thing that we've tried to update to be able to give you guys greater visibility, some of these promotions that we do have coming on. So as far as who should be in alignment to have these prices reflect, you do see links here to all of kind of our channel partners. So the channel partners should have their pricing reflect. If you don't see that, feel free to reach out to them and see if they can get that updated. Generally, if you head over to our ASUS store, though, our ASUS store will always reflect these promo prices, as we'll work directly with our ASUS team to make sure that the pricing directly from our ASUS website is updated for that lower pricing. Okay. So Michael says, sweet deals. Yeah, I definitely agree. Our friend over there at PGPCs, the Z590 board is an absolutely gorgeous board. I did an unboxing of it on a TikTok. Fantastic, man. Make sure to check out his TikTok there. Really cool. Yeah, the Z590 series, if you want to find out more about it too, there's a full dedicated live stream that we've done on our entire lineup and goes over every kind of feature, function, and design. Still fantastic series of boards, and they look great. So I did want to touch on just a couple of quick promos that we did have specifically within ASUS Infinity. So let me go ahead and just a touch on a couple that I think are some really great promos that we have going on right now. One is going to be the ROG Rapture AX11000. So this is going to be a really, really impressive unit right here. So you're going to be able to go ahead and step up to your 2.5 gigabit, right? You're going to have your tri-band based technology on here, a very fast quad core based SoC. And this unit, you can see normally priced $450, right, is normal price. And right now it's on sale for $350. So that's $100 off. This is absolutely one of the best routers you can get on the market. If you've been looking to maybe upgrade from Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6, this is a really great option. The performance that you have available to you is extremely impressive, right? And again, having essentially that tri-band also gives you more flexibility to be able to dedicate specific bands to your highest performing devices. Or if you even wanted to pair two of these together to make like a monster mesh network that is compatible with over 25 ASUS models, right, that you could pair together, or you could get two of them together and then use one of them, right? So a lot of flexibility here. Like I said, 1.8 gigahertz quad core based SoC. You're going to have 1 gigabyte of memory dedicated for the actual unit as well. And you're also going to have very nice connectivity right here, including at 2.5G port, which is pretty sweet to be able to also complement kind of the latest generation of laptops, motherboards, mini PCs, and other products that we have that offer 2.5G connectivity, right? So again, if you're looking for an upgrade, I think this is a really nice choice for you to consider, okay? Next up, another one on great promote. Oh, wow, this one actually sold out. So maybe I'll check Amazon and see if it's listed. This is, I feel, overall best really kind of overall monitor you can get right now on the market. And it's definitely the best 1440p monitor. I'll put that up against any manufacturer's 1440p monitor. The ROG Swift PG279QM is an outstanding monitor. You can see normally this is $900. It's $150 off. That is an outstanding deal for this monitor. You know, 1440p, ultra high refresh rate, 240 hertz. This one actually has dedicated G-Sync module. And really what that is enabling is an outstanding variable refresh rate experience. The reason why that's so important is that you want to keep in mind that when you talk about your refresh rate, it's really important to have really great what's called variable refresh rate tuning, because the monitor, and when you're gaming, you're not always maybe at 240 hertz, right? You could be at 200, you could be at 180, you could be even 144, right? You're going to be varying. And when you're designing the panel and you're tuning the panel in terms of its overdrive performance to be able to maximize things like motion clarity and response, the G-Sync module really does an outstanding job to be able to make sure that the actual overdrive performance and that clarity performance is consistent across the entirety of the refresh range. And that's really one of the big strengths. Comparing this to, like, let's say the XG series monitor, which we have, which is up to 270 hertz and 1440p. And a lot of people like that monitor. It's a great monitor, but they buy it because it's a little bit cheaper than this monitor. One of the value adds that you have here is actually the overall response time, and the overall variable refresh rate experience is superior on this monitor than that monitor because of the dedicated G-Sync module. You also get things like NVIDIA Reflex technology, which is really cool. Pretty much almost all of our current generation mice support NVIDIA Reflex. But again, $750 off. That's an outstanding value. In terms of the price point, again, it's already sold out. I checked it just literally a couple of hours ago, and I was going to link it in the PCDIY group, and it was sold out. So let me see if it's still available at Amazon for that promo. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Amazon has it still. So yeah. So right now you can still get this on Amazon, right? 17%. It doesn't seem like as much, but look, almost $150 saving. That's one of the lowest prices that we have released ever for this monitor right now. So that's a killer deal. So I would check that out. Okay. And then two other, I think, really awesome promos. My overall favorite mouse, I really love the Chakram, and we just released the Chakram X, right? But in terms of the overall kind of, I'd say, experience, actually, let me go ahead and detach the cable here. One of my favorite mice that we actually have is going to be the Gladius 3 right here. Gladius 3, I think specifically this wired version, it's lightweight, it's built outstanding, has an ultra high performance sensor. It has support for, of course, our push fit socket design, so you can swap the switches. Comes already with the ROG 70 million gold plated in terms of the electrode junction for the micro switches, the super soft ROG paracord cable. You get a secondary set of feet or skates that come with the mouse. Laser etched sides, so you have really nice grip texture. This is just an outstanding mouse. Multiple profile support. You can have multiple mapping options in terms of this mouse as well. You also are going to have our pivoted button mechanism, our pivoted button mechanism, which means that the actual actuation is consistent each and every time, as opposed to some mice, there's a space between where the button is and the top of the micro switch is. And you have secondary switch that's also included. Most mice don't give you two switches or the ability to customize the switch, don't give you two sets of feet inside the box, right? And this is a tri-mode. Well, this one's not tri-mode, this one's wired, but the wireless version is tri-mode. Tri-mode is going to give you Bluetooth 2.4 and USB-C. So this normally $90, $50, man, that's sweet. $40 off. And then the wireless version is also on sale, normally $120, $80, man. So if you've been looking for an upgrade on the mouse, the Gladius 3 is really hard to beat. It's really an outstanding mouse in terms of its overall performance, its feel, its weight, the feature set, the functionality, an outstanding mouse. So those are my quick recommendations for ASUS Affinity promos. So let me go ahead and drop those in the chat for you guys. I'm also going to go ahead and check and see if we've got any questions that came up in the chat. And then we're going to get ready to jump into and talk about the ROG Delta S. Hey, John, Mark. On this stream, we actually only focus on our ASUS core components. So everything under the ASUS component category line. We don't actually cover any of our system-related products like our expert books. So we will probably, hopefully, be having a kind of systems-related stream coming probably in Q3, or hopefully looking to start that. But right now we don't actually have one. But if you have questions on that, you can feel free to go ahead and email me at pcdiy@asus.com, and I can see if I can go ahead and respond or find out whatever it is you're wondering about in terms of the expert product line. That's a really cool series. One of a kind of, I think, a sleeper series, super thin and light, outstanding battery life, and built really, really nicely in terms of the overall fit and finish and the construction. David said, thumbs up. I love my Gladius 3. Thanks so much. Very, very cool. Jay's asking, are there any monitors you would recommend if I'm looking to go to a bigger size, so like a 34 to 38? I don't know. I'm a big fan of 32. Going to like 34 to 38 generally means that you're probably looking at an ultra wide, which for me, I tend to not prefer ultra wides personally. I prefer normal aspect ratios. But if you were to probably look at one, what is, I think, probably my I think my favorite recommendation. I don't know. The Tough Gaming VG35 I think is a really nice option for that. It depends, of course, on your budget and the feature set that you're looking for. And also whether or not you want a curve, because sometimes in some situations a curve can be nice and beneficial. But I think for me, yeah, that's a tough one. Because some people like curves and some people don't like curves. So it can kind of be kind of tricky as far as, what's the best balancing act. I'm going to probably say I think the XG349C is probably my overall kind of recommendation for you. So this going to be this one right here. It's going to be a 3440 by 1440, supports up to 180 hertz refresh rate. It supports our eLMB sync, which is backlight strobing, which can be nice in terms of improving motion clarity. It has a curve, which I think going on that little bit larger size, some people prefer that just because it gives you a little bit more kind of immersion, helps them kind of maybe relax a little bit of eye strain in that regard, right? I think it's a really nice overall balance in terms of the set specifications. There are also some cool little things on this monitor too. One, you still maintain IPS, so very good color performance, 10-bit based display. This also is going to support our display widget, which I'm a big fan of, which means that you can do all your adjustments through the on-screen display in Windows. So you can load up an application and you can change things like brightness, contrast, saturation. You can match different games and applications with different color profiles. So you don't ever have to physically touch a button on the monitor. I think that's super useful. And it also does have some nice functionality right here with like a Type-C hub and additional kind of forms of connectivity available to you. So yeah, check that one out. Maybe that would be a good option for you, okay? Armin J, does ASUS have a Wi-Fi 6E add-in card? Yes, 100%. We definitely do have a card. I think I've covered it in the past, but let me see if I have an image right here. PCE, should have it right here. If not, I'll bring it up, but PCE AXE. So here you go. This is going to be add-in card. This is going to be our flagship kind of model. So this is the PCE AXE58BT. So that is an easy way for you to go ahead and add in Wi-Fi 6E if you want to your system. So we got you covered. Yeah, we've got Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 6E. We have 2.5 gig. We have 10 gig. Pretty much if you need any networking add-in, we also have you covered there. So definitely have you covered in that regard. Okay, very, very cool. So I think that takes care of those quick promos that I wanted to be able to touch on in terms of ASUS Infinity. So make sure to get in on those. All right. So last but not least, we have a couple of other just quick promos that I want to drop in on. And here we have the ROG Delta White combo, which right now is going on with Newegg. This is a combo package, so it's all together. But if you want, you can get in on it. Right here, you can see you've got the Helios, you have the XG, excuse me, 27 series monitor right here, ultra high refresh rate based monitor, IPS based display, 27 inches, and the white ROG Delta coming in you with a combo pack for $850. So if you're looking for maybe kind of a little bit of a core of a white setup, this would be pretty sweet. Then you maybe add in something like one of our ROG Strix or Prime series motherboards, white graphics card, Moonlight white keyboard, and bam, you've got a pretty sweet white setup. Okay, and then also we do have this limited promotion today. It ends today, which is $30 off, right? So you get a nice little savings right here for the the Tough Gaming Z690 Plus motherboard. Definitely one of my favorite boards in our Z690 lineup. So I will drop that in the chat there as well. Definitely a nice savings. This is definitely one of kind of the best value boards in terms of kind of the overall feature set to performance. The main difference that some people always wonder about, a key thing would be that this board doesn't have ASUS AIOC, but that doesn't mean you can't manually overclock. You can manually overclock DRAM, you can manually overclock the CPU. You just don't have the ASUS AIOC feature, which is a really sweet option, but it is something to keep in mind in terms of a key difference. So let me drop those in the chat, and then I've got one last promo. So let me go ahead and drop this in there. So that's our promo there for Newegg, and we've got a bundle right here. Okay. All right. And then the last one is one promotion that we have going on that is also going to be for Z590. I announced this in the PCDIY group, and that is going to be for 11th gen, 10th gen, and Z590 series motherboards. And this is going to be our kind of co-promotion that we're running right now with Intel. And the big benefit that you got for this guy is going to be that you can save up to about $150 depending on your pairings. So you'll see right here, we've got a wide range from Micro ATX Z590 Prime board, right, all the way up to Tough Gaming, ROG Strix Z590-E, the Maximus Z590 Apex, the Maximus Z590 Extreme, the Z590 Hero board, even I think the Glacial in here. So depending on your combos, you'll see that you have a wide range of combos. So I think that there's mixed. It could be everything from like there's pairings with like a 10600K. I think there's 11700K, 11900K. There's kind of different pairings with different combos for different price points. But these are really solid promos. If you're looking kind of for the baseline to be able to build a new system, I think you should definitely really check them out. Really, really solid promos that we have available. So I will go ahead, and I think I've already dropped those in the chat right there. So, all right. Okay, so I think that takes care of all of our promos. Lots of promos today. All right, very, very cool. So now let's get to, I think, what I really am excited about talking about, which is going to be the brand new, right here, ROG Delta S wireless. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this guy right here. And this is not the Delta S wireless. This is the original Delta. Go ahead and just bring up some images right here. And we're going to take a look. So this is the brand new headset. So this is going to be our first wireless headset that we were going to offer under the actual Delta S line. And so the big thing here for this model is it's going to be an actual two wireless connection standard, right? So you're going to have support for 2.4 gigahertz and for Bluetooth. So there are some competitors right now that they only have kind of one or maybe the other. And so our focus was, of course, to be able to give you that flexibility of first and foremost having 2.4 gigahertz connectivity. 2.4 gigahertz is going to be the preferred option because 2.4 is going to give you better range, better stability. It's going to have the lowest latency and the most bandwidth. So that means also less compression. So it's better for the overall audio experience, regardless of whether you're talking about music, movies, videos, games, whatever it might be. At that same time, though, we wanted the flexibility of being able to give Bluetooth 5.0 because 5.0 is going to give you better range. It's going to give you actually audio and video sync support for watching videos, like if you're watching videos like on YouTube or Twitch or something like that, right? Not gaming centric, you'll still have some latency there. So you would definitely want to use USB-C for gaming-based purposes, but you have the flexibility of switching it. And even for some competitors in the similar market that offer dual, we offer, I think, a higher performing implementation. So take, for instance, the SteelSeries Arctis 9. They're using Bluetooth 4.1. We're using Bluetooth 5. So compared to that, Bluetooth 5, Bluetooth 4.1 is only optimally designed to work with Bluetooth 4. Bluetooth 5 fully backwards works with older Bluetooth specifications and gets its max benefit with Bluetooth 5. And again, it has better range, better stability, has that AV sync support, and also is more efficient in terms of how it works. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other items right here. So you'll see the first thing is going to be the overall design aesthetic. It's got a really clean kind of monochrome design aesthetic. And I'm going to show some other pictures to kind of compare and contrast how it looks compared to the current Delta-based headset. But I really like the clean kind of monochromatic design. There's no RGB lighting on this model like there is on the traditional Delta. So the traditional Delta does have RGB lighting. The benefit with that, of course, is going to be that we just get a better battery life, right, by not having to worry about the RGB lighting. And you'll also see that here we have actually added this kind of cool little bit of a gradient to the ear cup, which I think looks clean. And you have these silver white accents for the actual yoke and for the ROG logo. I think overall, it's got a really nice just design aesthetic that looks really clean. It's really well complementary. All right. So next here, you're going to see, of course, fully interoperable, of course, USB-C. It's just like our current kind of ROG Strix model that has the 2.4 gigahertz wireless adapter. So I'll show that in a little bit in a moment here, a little bit closer up. But the way that it actually stores is pretty slick. So you see right here, there's actually these little space, right, as you have the ability to actually store the wireless adapter in the headset, which I really like, which means you have a far less lower likelihood of actually losing this. So you don't have to worry about kind of putting it in your pocket or in a bag or anything. You can actually store it directly in the headset. And you are going to fully be able to customize all the elements within the Armoury Crate software. So if you want to be able to have customized profiles to go in and adjust the multi-band EQ, be able to adjust bass boost, be able to enable virtual surround, set customized profiles that we already have designed, or make your own profiles, right? So that you could have it tailored to maybe something like, gaming, racing, RTS or MMO, versus, listening to music or videos. You can have customized profiles. And I'll talk about that a little bit more So overall, this is kind of the overall design aesthetic, but let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other elements right here a little bit more closely. So give me 1 second here. And we'll go right here. So perfect. Okay, so we can see right here, this is going to be the USB wireless adapter. So that is actually what you're going to be using for the 2.4 gigahertz connectivity, right? So let me go ahead and just show you a little bit of a closer shot of it here. So give me a second. This is going to be from our ROG Strix Go gaming headset, but it's very similar. So it's a small, very little compact adapter, and you can just pretty much, install it into your devices like that, and you're good to go. And this will work on your PS5, on your laptop, on your desktop, on your Nintendo Switch. So that way, bam, you've got your 2.4 gigahertz connection. And for some that are wondering about, the box will include a extender. So the extender will allow you to have more flexibility so that you can connect to a cable if you want to position it for maybe potential interference issues or for maximizing range or performance or anything like that. So there's a lot of flexibility within the included extender. So as I noted there, it's dual mode, right? So you have that support for 2.4 gigahertz or for Bluetooth. They will not work simultaneously. So it is up to you to go ahead and switch the unit either into Bluetooth mode or switch it into 2.4 gigahertz operating mode. And there's a nice physical button on the unit that allows you to quickly just toggle it between 2.4 or toggle it to Bluetooth. These do maintain our ASUS 50 millimeter Essence airtight base chamber design. Very good drivers. They have a really nice warm sound to them. I wouldn't say that they're kind of V-curved because I do think that they actually are fairly neutral. And they offer, I think, a really solid reproduction for the entirety of kind of all kinds of content. So, gaming, of course, is our primary focus here. But, if you're watching a stream, listening to some music, watching some video, right, listening to some podcasts, whatever it might be, nice, consistent, clean audio experience, well-defined bass, good mid-range that's present, and then some nice detailing there in the upper end, right? And of course, you can go into that 10-band equalizer to be able to fine-tune kind of, different characteristics if you kind of want something that might be a little bit more punchy, or if you want the kind of the mids to be a little bit more present, or if you want those highs to have a little bit more a little bit more of a punch. So Pidgey, that's what I'm going to be talking about next, internal mic. So that is one thing that we are not seeing, right? So let's go ahead and talk about what we've done right here. So this is the really kind of interesting thing. So traditionally, when you talk about kind of a headset, if I use right here, this is the ROG Strix Go 2.4, you would have something like this. You would put it on and you'd have the boom mic, right? And nothing wrong with boom mics, right? Definitely you can have a very good, consistent boom mic. The mic actually on the Delta is quite solid, I think. And here, but the challenge is always kind of like when you're moving, sometimes it'll kind of can drop down and you might have to readjust it. You might have to reposition it, right? All of ours have the detachable base design. So that's nice. So that, of course, when you're using a headset, you can detach it, right? And the same thing, the current Delta has that same design. But we wanted to try to help to kind of streamline that experience. And so what we went ahead and did is what we've done actually on the ROG Strix Fusion 2 headsets, which is we've incorporated a beamforming based microphone design. So there's actually two sets of microphones, one on each ear cup. And instead of what's called an omnipolar pattern, we have a 60 degree focused pattern. So that means it's pretty much in alignment with where your voice is. So we don't worry about picking up kind of ambient noise or sounds. We're focusing on picking up your voice. And this great thing means that there's no boom to get in your way. So pretty much wherever you're moving your head, wherever you're going to be, it's always tracking in perfect alignment with you. So it's much more consistent than I'd say a boom mic, which sometimes you have to worry about its positioning, its proximity. It can be a little bit more varied, whether it's in one spot to another. And sometimes even literally like a couple of millimeters on a boom from one direction to another can be a really big difference in terms of the sound experience. We also are going to be maintaining our ASUS AI noise canceling technology, and you can toggle that off and on, right? If you want the absolute best clarity, the best definition for the microphone, turn the ASUS AI noise canceling off. But if you're in a situation, maybe a dog's in an adjacent room, maybe you've got friends, family in an adjacent room, there's something that's going on, somebody's mowing their lawn, the HVAC's on and ramping, different things going on, you can toggle ASUS AI noise canceling, and it still does a pretty good job of keeping intelligibility and clarity and definition to your voice, but will filter out all that noise for you. And there's different modes. So you can go ahead from like a low to a medium to a high. So you have 3 different levels that you can adjust the ASUS AI noise canceling support, right? Now, so let's talk about battery life. Battery life is quite solid on the unit. So you're going to have 25 hours in terms of the battery life, and fast charge, which I think is great. So you're going to get up to 3 hours within 15 minutes. So that's pretty sweet because, you should normally take a break, anyways, if you've been gaming for maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours, take a break, go stretch your legs, get a little bit of sun, go use the restroom, get something to drink, get something to eat, take out your dog on a quick walk, or just, talk to somebody, right? Whatever it might be. But within literally 15 minutes, you get 3 hours. That gives you a whole bunch of coverage for your extended gaming session. So all the way around, you're really talking multiple days of coverage in terms of really being able to use the headset every day. So whether you're jumping in to do something like an online, Skype, Teams, Google Meet, Facebook, whatever it might be, chat, or whether you're jumping on Discord, or whether you're on TeamSpeak, or Steam chat, or jumping into a game, right? You're not worried about that. And again, even if you're just there listening to some music, you're going to have great extended battery life, really easy fast charging. And the fast charging is done through a USB-C cable that's included inside the box. So you're good to go that route. Oh, very cool. So we have somebody that actually has the Fusion 2500. As the Fusion 2500 owner, the beamforming mic is a must. So that's really cool to get feedback. That's a brand new headset that we just launched, but it's one of the really cool features that we introduced is that I really do think that it's a far simpler experience, right? Is that you can just literally put on the headset and bam, you're good to go. And wherever you're moving, wherever you're adjusting, you can always feel consistent and confident that the mic is always kind of being picked up. And you don't have to worry about, like I said, even detaching a microphone. It's always going to go with you, right? You're set, you're good to go. Now, another thing that I really do love is going to be our ear cushion design on our Deltas. So we're going to continue that trend of giving you 2 ear cups in the box, right? And so that means that you get one, the protein leather ear cushions. And so these ear pads are going to be a kind of for maximum isolation, so blocking noise out, and I'd say for maximum kind of comfort. The hybrid ear cushions are going to be for an improved level of kind of breathability and also fast cooling. So they will help to dissipate heat a bit more. So if you're in a little bit of hotter ambient environment, or maybe your head just runs a little bit hotter, these are going to be an option. And the great thing is you can switch. You can find which one works best for you. They're both very comfortable. They're both well padded, but the protein leather with the kind of more cushioned memory foam is even more kind of comfy. And I would say the hybrid ear cushions still comfortable, but really do well in terms of kind of giving you more breathability, especially if you want to game for 3, 4, 5 hours. That might be a little bit better suited for that situation. So you can really kind of pick whichever one you want. I've used the standard ear cups. I generally, like I said, try to take a break at least within 2 hours. And I think they can break through even within about 2 hours. Or if you're in a little bit colder environment, if you run HVAC, you could definitely go over that. So it all depends kind of on your ambient temp and your body temp, right? But very, very cool, like I said, that you get both of these in the box. Most competitors, they're going to just give you one. We're going to give you both of them inside the box. Okay, so here we talked about the cool design too, of also that you don't have to worry about losing kind of the adapter, right? It's going to be able to store directly inside the headset, which I think is a really, really cool design. So bam, you can just dock it straight in the ear cup. And then from there, when you need it, you can pull it out and you can go ahead and connect it to your device. So really, really easy to be able to take advantage of the 2.4 gigahertz, right? Wherever you might be going. So really, really simple, really, really easy. You have on-ear cup controls to be able to adjust the volume, right? So bam, you can go up, you can go down, you can push into mute. You then have your multifunction button, which is going to be for like play, pause, skipping tracks, things like that. And then a hard switch, which I really like to switch between 2.4 off and Bluetooth. So it's really nice to know that you can build that muscle memory. You can go bam, when I'm being in 2.4, lift it up. When I'm in Bluetooth, drop it down. So that is kind of a little bit of a recap there on a lot of the cool elements that we have in terms of the ROG Delta S. And so here, I just want to kind of go and show you a little bit kind of the, I guess, comparison differences in terms of how it looks. So give me 1 second here. And I think I have some images here for the Deltas, so we can kind of take a look at how they kind of compare, right? So let's bring up the original Delta, and then we'll bring up the Delta S wireless. How have the original. Here's the original Delta. Okay, cool. And actually, you could kind of compare this more to the Delta S, but let's go ahead and just kind of compare these two. So here you can see we have the Delta, right? Here's the original Delta, and here's the Delta S wireless, right? And you're going to see here we've got a little bit kind of more silver, right, in terms of the actual accent color, and then black on the inset right there, and then a lot more kind of black all throughout, and then this little bit of kind of this silver white base accent design. So I think that looks pretty cool. Right, so really clean, really nice, clean, consistent design, right? So let's go ahead and just kind of compare this to some of the other Delta models, right? So here's compared to the Delta in white. Same headset, it's just the white edition. Here's the actual Delta S. So the Delta S was the upgraded model, and this Delta S wireless is quite a bit lighter than the original Delta. So the original Delta was 387 grams, and this one is 318 grams. So it is a lightweight base headset compared to some other competitors. Like I think like the Corsair Virtuoso, something like 440 grams. It's really quite heavy in terms of that. And compared to some other ones that are in that higher bracket, definitely this I think is a much more comfortable, which makes sense, right? This is a wireless headset. You're going to be moving around with it more. So I think really you kind of want to be able to hit that target around that 300 to about probably 325 grams is really where you would want to be, if not even lower than that. So that's a nice weight distribution. You'll see here the Delta S, right? You have the ASUS AI noise canceling mic, also that lightweight design, and then also the RGB, and then the corded-based connection. Now, the big benefit on the Delta is that it still actually travels. I traveled with the Delta, and I didn't have any problems with it. I felt it was totally still something I could travel with, and I love the simple, just straight USB connection, because again, I could plug it into my laptop, my phone, my Switch, my different devices. But it's really convenient here that now you can go fully wireless, right? Here's compared to the Delta S Animate, right, which of course has the Anime Matrix display. And this is compared to the Delta Origin, which is our more entry-level model. And then the most entry model, which is going to be the Delta Core, right? So there you go, just kind of a little bit of comparison between all the different kind of Delta headsets, right? So let's go ahead and maybe bring up how these kind of compare and contrast against each other. So let me go ahead and bring this up here. Okay. Let me go ahead and see right here. I had the Corsair Virtuoso XTs and I absolutely hated them. The weight, noise they outputted, and the way they fit on my head were not right. Actually, this is something, thanks, Pidgey. I wanted to actually bring something up here. So he makes a very interesting point. So one thing that is kind of cool in terms of what we did for the design of the headphones. So when you talk about the inside of the headphone, we actually have an angled driver. And so if I pull off the pad, and I could show this like on a secondary cam, right? But the actual driver is angled 12 degrees. So it's not exactly flat. And part of the reason why we did that, so let me go ahead and see if I can show you here. You'll actually see, right, that it's actually offset, right? So you'll see that there's a space, right? So there's space in terms of actually how this angles, right? And the benefit of actually having an angled driver is that we can help to actually be in alignment to the way that kind of your ear works. So your ear lobe, right? Your earlobe, naturally, it's not flat, right? It actually flares. It's flatter here and then flares out to the back. And so this is actually more of an ergonomic based design. And what we've actually found is that some people, especially I think right now, like the Razer Black Shark, the Kingston HyperX Alpha, I think also the Corsair is the same, is that they all have a flat base profile. And the disadvantage of a flat profile is that it can press up against this part of your ear. So that actually can cause more heat because you're putting this part of your earlobe, which is warm, and then against your head, and that causes pressure and a little bit of fatigue. Some people that wear glasses find that uncomfortable. And also, like I said, it just creates more heat. The benefit of having the angled driver design is that we actually are a little bit more in alignment there. And so we don't put necessarily that pressure on your ear cup, and we give more room for the driver. And so that is a really cool kind of design accent that you might not realize, but we did actually model. So that was one of the key things, even back when we first designed the original Delta, that is also present on here, is that you have the angled 12 degree design. So I'm just putting the ear cup back on here, and you can actually see it's really easy to put the ear cup back on. So again, if you want to swap these out, it's not a big deal in terms of swapping them out for when, if you wanted to go with, like I said, the fast cooling one, or if you want to go with the one that has more isolation, right? So let's go ahead and take a look right here. Jacob saying, is there bass? Yeah, definitely. With 50 millimeter drivers, these have been tuned. They're matched also drivers too. I think probably we got some people here that have actually can reinforce maybe their Delta experience. I know that Star-Lord said he has the Fusion 500. It uses a similar type of driver. They can maybe note on it, but I definitely feel very comfortable saying that the bass experience is really solid. If you like to listen to something that has a present bass track, so you listen to maybe, EDM, trap, hip hop, rap, whatever. Or like I said, you just want dynamic punch in games, right? Where you've got explosions, you got reverberation. The bass is well defined here. It's not muddy. It's got a nice punch to it, but it's not so heavy that it kind of messes up your mid-range and messes up your treble. So it's a nice overall balance between your bass, your mids, and your highs. So let's see how they kind of compare again here. So let's see if I can maybe adjust that a little bit. So there's a lot of text right here. Try to be a little bit tricky here to kind of look through this, but you'll see right here, here's our most entry-level model with the Delta Core, comes all the way in here to the Delta S wireless. Would technically be our highest end model because it's the only wireless model. The highest end models would be the Delta S, right, versus here. So the main difference though is, of course, all of these are wired and this is going to be wireless, right? So either 2.4 or Bluetooth, right? It does maintain the Essence drivers. But in terms of the DAC design, right, there is a DAC that's built in there, but the wired units, many of them, as you see, have that quad ESS Sabre DAC technology in there to really be able to offer even more fine-tuned and tailored and nuanced-based audio. It does make a difference. It does allow for a superior experience, but that's more challenging to implement from a power standpoint into a wireless-based headset. So that is one of the advantages of going with, of course, the wired connection. Okay. There is no RGB lighting, as you'll see that we have RGB lighting on the other models. The microphone is going to be a digital microphone with that AI beamforming, right, where the mic is on each ear cup, or on the other models, it's essentially an analog-based microphone. It's that boom mic that's present in there, right? They all pretty much come with the dual ear cup design, right? And you can see on that weight, it's one of the lightest models, 380 grams versus, let's say, the original Delta, which was 387, right? So that gives you a little bit of reference there, okay? Let me see here if we got any questions right there. What about ear tension? Yeah, so if you're talking about kind of clamping force is really well balanced. So we actually specifically model these with a wide range of users, and I would actually say that we don't have people that complain about clamping force pressure on here, and that's very, very reasonable in terms of that. So I don't think you're going to have any issues in terms of feeling that they're pushing down on your head. Some other nice things too about the way that we've designed the Delta S wireless is going to be that you do have swivel cup adjustment. Some of the headphones in this category don't have swivel cup. So I like that because if I want to kind of just set my headphones like this, I can set them like that, right? Or if I want to lay them down flat, I can lay them down flat like that, and that is good to go. So that is another benefit of having the swivel cup design present. So that is also going to be on there. And one other thing that's actually upgraded, that we upgraded specifically from the original Delta to the S as well as to this model, is actually the pad performance. So these pads right here, as well as the headband, there's something that is called a hydrolysis wear testing that we do. And so on the original ones, they were rated for 3 years. And of course, it depends on heat and humidity. Some users could even go, of course, longer than that. But we specifically actually revamped the material to be even much more hard wearing. So these are actually rated for 5 years in terms of our hydrolysis abrasion testing. So the essentially the bands, again, the ear cups and the bands are rated for even a higher level of wear performance. So Johnny Boy saying, my current headset presses up against my ears and causes too much fatigue and some pain. So yeah, that's specifically what I'm talking about here, is that one, we give you a really nice amount of that padding so that it doesn't press up against your ear. And like I said, that angled design, that 12 millimeter angle design, I think will be beneficial to you. I've found in the feedback from the people in our group, and again, you can kind of ask people in our PCDIY group if you're interested. We have a lot of people with different sizes, shapes, and head. And I don't think I've had anybody tell me that they felt that it wasn't comfortable and then it pressed up against their ear. And I think really part of that is because we don't do a flat base driver design where it has the most likelihood to press up against this ear, or like I said, it can get hotter. And also just pushing up against that tissue, like you said, it can cause pain and irritation over time. So I totally get where you're coming from. And I think that that can really be a benefit of this model. So let's go ahead and get into some of the last details right here in terms of availability and pricing. So in terms of availability and pricing, we are projecting the price point for this one. We probably approximately a $200 MSRP, which we think is very competitive with the marketplace. If you take a look at, like I said, at like the Black Shark or like the Arctis 9, they're at about the similar price point. The Cloud 2 wireless is also around that same price point. But again, we're giving you 2.4 and Bluetooth 5, right? Like the Arctis 9 is 2.4, but Bluetooth 4.1. Greater wireless range. We actually have tested our unit to 25 meters, which is about 80 feet. In the real world, you have interference in environment, so it's probably going to be more, maybe in like 40 to 50 feet, but our tested range is superior, and that would be for both Bluetooth and for 2.4 gigahertz. It's lighter weight. The Arctis 9 is 376 grams. We're 380 grams. The Arctis is 40 millimeters. We're 50 millimeter drivers. We have the beamforming ASUS AI noise canceling technology for the way our microphone is implemented, right? You get the secondary set of ear cups as well in the box. So we think that from that value proposition at the same price point, you're getting more. So sometimes people say, ROG costs more, but I think that the total value experience is really, really strong. So, that's just a little bit of kind of a comparison. I think overall, really, really nice unit to kind of consider in terms of, like I said, of its overall features and functions. We're hopefully looking to release this in early Q3 timeframe. So, of course, Q quarters, if you're not familiar, right, quarters come in 3-month blocks, right? So January, February, March is Q1, right? April, May, June is Q2, right? And then July, August, September is Q3. So hopefully in this Q3 timeframe, we're going to be releasing this model in the not too distant future with the ROG Delta S wireless. I'm going to go ahead and just run through those images one more time so you guys can just take a look at it. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to go ahead and let me know. But from there, we'll probably get ready to go into the PC DIY Builder Spotlight. So give me 1 second right here. And we will show it off to you here. All right. All right. So here you guys can see this is just a preview of the actual site. It will be going up a little bit later. But again, you can see the cool, clean design. Again, 2.4 and Bluetooth present on the unit. Right. And remember, with Bluetooth 5, it's fully backwards compatible with the other prior generation Bluetooth spec, but you get the best experience with pairing it with a Bluetooth 5 enabled device. Bluetooth 5 has now been around for a while. You can pretty much get it on all current laptops, all current motherboards, phones, tablets, many devices. And like I said, that also gives you, like I said, a better battery life, great range, improved stability, and audio and video sync. So if you're watching things like Twitch, you're watching YouTube, that's really great to kind of make sure that that's a consistent experience. But gaming, you want to use the 2.4 gigahertz because that ensures low latency so that there's no sync issues, okay? Our nice angled driver design, 50 millimeter drivers with their airtight chamber. You can see right here in terms of the beamforming based microphone design too, right? That's a really cool design that we have present on right here. Up to 25 hours battery life, 3 hours quick charging, USB-C. Fully compatible with the range of devices, desktop, laptops, Nintendo Switch, phones, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4. And you get the 2 ear cushions, ear pads inside the box, right? On ear cup controls, you can see volume up and down, mute. Then you have multi-button, right? Like a multi-function button. So you can see play, pause, next track, previous track, and then also for quick change for Bluetooth, and then your toggle button for wireless and Bluetooth. And then fully customizable in Armory Crate, so you can go into Armory Crate and you can adjust the EQ, you could enable virtual surround, you can bump up the bass, you have different levels for ASUS AI noise canceling, noise gate, and perfect voice. So lots of options for you guys there. Let me go ahead and just see if we have any questions right there. I really like how they sit flat against the neck. Looks like no pressure against the neck. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. It's pretty good. I'm a larger individual, so I think that even for somebody that's smaller, it would even have more space. So for reference, I'm about 6'2". I have pretty broad shoulders, probably about like 215, 220-ish, right? So you can see that when I expand it out, I can wear it there and it's definitely not bad. So it's okay. It's not super heavy and crazy. And keep in mind that the Delta S wireless is going to be lighter, and this is the original Delta. So in that regard, it's even going to be lighter and more comfortable. And again, for a smaller person, I definitely don't even see that concern. So that working for me, somebody my size, I think that that design works pretty well. Question here is that we're working on 500. Yeah, so we talked about this previously with the ROG Swift 500 hertz monitor. Any plans for a QD OLED? We don't discuss anything that we haven't announced yet. We do extensively look though at all panel technologies, right? We're a leader when it comes to gaming displays and displays in general, right? We were the first to release ultra high refresh rate based monitors. We've pushed the envelope with VA, we've pushed the envelope with IPS, we've custom worked with panel manufacturers like AUO to be able to develop new customized panels for TN, for IPS, right? At the forefront for things like mini LED. QLED is definitely an interesting technology, and it's something that we're also evaluating and looking at. But as of right now, there's nothing that confirming for you. Our upcoming OLED-based displays will be based on traditional OLED-based panels, right? Not QD OLED, and those will be 42 and 48 inches. But as always, if you want to find out about what we're going to be coming out with, make sure to be part of the PCDIY group and make sure to keep it tuned to the weekly stream. We talk about pretty much all those things as we release them. Johnny Boy says, do they use a similar technology as the noise canceling software that is on RG motherboards? Yes, it actually does, but there's a little bit of a difference. So on the motherboards, all the motherboards and pretty much all of our motherboards right now ship with the ASUS AM noise canceling. It's done actually through software processing. So it's actually kind of similar to what RTX Voice does. RTX actually runs in on hardware and it's accelerated, although our performance envelope on the motherboards is smaller. So we've actually measured the performance difference in terms of a CPU penalty to like frame rate. It's better than something like that. But we actually have a chip. There's a chip that's built on the inside. It's an ASUS AI noise canceling chip that takes the machine learning algorithm that we ran and then does it on the fly. But you can still tune it through the software. So you can go in and set, low, medium, high, and we can still even fine tune it over time with like firmware updates if we get feedback from people where if we want to kind of tweak it or tune it. But it is the same type of ASUS AI noise canceling functionality that we have on our motherboards, but it's built directly into the headset and it runs on a hardware level. So it is there for you. And again, you can toggle it on, you can toggle it off. Johnny Boy is like, I'm still on a VA 165. Hey, that's still really nice. I will say though, jump into a monitor that has like 240 hertz is pretty sweet. And testing out the 360 has been pretty awesome. And 500 hertz, especially with some of the new stuff that we're doing with the panel technology there, it's going to be really impressive in terms of the motion clarity. But we're not stopping there. We're on the journey to 1,000 hertz to be able to really achieve the highest level of motion clarity, along with some other really impressive persistent resolution to persistence based issues. So it's only going to keep getting faster. We got another question here. Let's see. Should I get the ROG 3070 OC or the Tough Gaming 3070 Ti OC for the same price? The reality is that it comes down to a little bit of aesthetics, but if you're talking about pure performance, get the 3070 Ti, right? If it's the same price, the Tough Gaming graphics card, it's built to the same level as far as our advanced, what's called auto extreme production process, which means we use an advanced fabrication process where robots come in and lay all the components on there, and then it goes through an advanced quality assurance kind of scan to be able to check all the components. It has a really beefy and advanced heatsink, including our max contact heatsink design, which used to be only offered on ROG cards, but we introduced it in the 30 series on Tough Gaming. Axial Tech fan, so it's cool, it's quiet, it's fast, it looks good, has a little bit of RGB. The main benefit really of the ROG card is going to be it has a higher what's called TGP and TBP board rating limit, which can be a little bit useful for people that push it underwater or overclock. It has, of course, that really big RGB lighting zone. It has the Fan Connect 2 headers. It's a great card, and the performance is very similar. And actually, in some situations, you could probably get that 3070 OC to probably be almost close to the TI, but still the TI is going to be a little bit faster because it's an OC model and it's already boosting above NVIDIA's standard clocks because we've clocked it higher, and it has such a great cooler design. So if it was me and I had to pick the two at the same price, I'd probably go with the Tough Gaming graphics card, but they're both going to be outstanding graphics cards. Kevin Daly saying, can't wait for ASUS to get to 1,000 first. I think, we're going to be there, right? We have pretty much been at the forefront. We were the first at, 120, the first at 140, the first at 240, the first at 360. We're going to be the first at 500. So we're going to keep setting it, and we're going to keep pushing it further. Yeah, Snef Masterclass Builder says, go with the Tough. I would agree. I think the Tough is the right choice there. A's Jeep is asking, Tough Device Manager. That sounds probably more like a Windows related issue. I don't think it has to do anything with the UEFI. So you probably, maybe if you've got your OS for a really long time, one, I would reset it back to factory defaults, reinstall your core chipset drivers, and then see if that resolves your issue. And if it doesn't, you may want to consider maybe reinstalling your operating system, because I feel confident that it's not the UEFI or the BIOS that's causing that issue. It's probably some underlying OS based issue. But like I said, clear the CMOS, do a cold power cycle. So that means shut the system down, unplug the power, load it back up with UEFI defaults, boot back in the operating system, and then reload your chipset drivers and reboot and see if that resolves your issue. Okay. All right. So that wraps up the introduction to the ROG Delta S wireless. Really excited to be able to go ahead and talk about this headset. I think it's going to be a fantastic addition to the lineup of headphones that we have, and hopefully you guys have been excited by it, and you guys liked the kind of the features, the functions, and the design that we have on this new headset. So I think with that, we're going to get ready to jump into the ASUS PCDIY Builders Spotlight, one of my favorite, of course, parts. Actually, it is my favorite part of the stream, being able to show off your builds. And if you guys want to be able to submit your build, all you got to do is join our PCDIY group. It's a fantastic community of over 30,000 people to be able to share their passion, their experiences with PCDIY. So whether you're a first-time builder, whether you've built 10 systems, whether you're a modder, whether you're an overclocker, whether you're somebody that loves liquid cooling, whether you like small form factor builds, or you're building a system for photo editing and content creation, we'd love to have you in the community, and we'd love for you to submit your builds to be featured here. So let's get ready to go ahead and jump into it. We've got some pretty sweet builds here. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on. All right. What am I going to go with first? Okay. First is going to be, let me see here. So this is going to be, this is a little bit of a long name. All right. So this is Alien Xenomorph Platinum versus Predator Maximus 13 by Technica, I believe, or Leonard. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, right? He's got a pretty crazy build. So let's go ahead and see what we've got going on here with this very interesting named system. And again, if anybody has any other questions, feel free to go ahead and let us know. That's a good one. Is that in IMAX? I don't know. We're going to go ahead and see right here. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right. Oh, already pretty interesting. We've got a little bit of an angled line out, some interesting stuff going on in the back here, some interesting glyphs. We've got some Predator. We can see we've got something Maximus there. Okay. Oh, okay. We can tell this is now in a Helios. So Helios, if you guys don't know, this is the GX601. So this is our chassis, right? You can always tell by, of course, the design language right there. And you can also see from the actual handles, which really do make it easier to move around. I love this on also our GT501 chassis, where you actually have handles. You can see right there also the Mayan patterning finish. And we have a little bit of additional addition right here in terms of the, is that? Yeah, Maximus 13, and we got something right there. I think that might be Predator. Oh, wow. Okay. So here we can see we've got a whole setup. So this is pretty crazy. This is pretty cool. Actually, I really like how some of this has been done. Oh, I really love the font right here. This is pretty close to the actual Alien font. from the film. Alien is one of the best film series I think ever in terms of just its composition and its narrative. What H.R. Geiger, so the guy that actually designed a lot of that world and a lot of the set design team, and then of course Ridley Scott, and then even James Cameron and the work they did to set so much of the fundamental look and feel, and even David Fincher with the third series, some really amazing kind of like just look and feels to the Alien kind of universe, right? But I really like the way this came out. So we've got some really interesting stuff. I like the green and then the black, and then we've got a little bit of kind of this yellow and then white accenting here. Some really interesting colors all kind of working together to give you a little bit of that alien vibe, kind of that xenomorph kind of, you don't see everything, right? You can't know exactly what's going on. I'm liking the look and feel right here. It's got the alien vibes, which is what we want. I love here you've added in the actual alien character, some nice little actually work here to kind of bring it in all together. It's a really cool look, really cool feel. And then you add that in there with that, of course, that awesome wallpaper, and that's pretty sweet. And so here, taking a closer look, we can see that we've got an ROG Strix LC cooler in there. Looks sweet. We've got, of course, the fans there in that green. I love the green. I think it really pops. It gives it that nice kind of just alien kind of vibe to it, right? We can see we've got an Apex motherboard, one of my favorite boards in our lineup. I love the aesthetic that it has with that X design. And I love just this little bit of this slat kind of just light, just kind of coming through a little bit, right? It's got a little bit of an alien vibe to it. And then here, the actual, I don't know if these are the cable mods ones, but I love the actual little flex hosing that they put over the tubing, which I think is a nice accent here. And I like that they didn't go RGB everywhere. I think actually keeping the back fan flat black, I think works better to create more contrast, right? So you've got black and then you've got the brighter zone, but you've got shadow, you've got light. So you've got a good balance coming in there. You got the nice cables right here too with some nice combs. Looks like we have green and black combs. And then we have alternating color in terms of the actual cables. I think looks really nice too. And here we can see, yeah, I like there. We can see that little RGI, the cabling going through using the run. We've got, of course, the alien character that's in there. And you can see also there's a custom backplate in there that gave it a little bit of a nice aesthetic too. And here, he did actually pull the panel off, and I think it's really nice there. I love all these little touches right here with just these little things right here, adding some additional glyphs. You can also see that the Thor is in there. This is really cool. It's like thematically, the theme is really cool, right? To kind of just tying in together ROG, some Alien, a little bit of Predator back over here, right? Really, really cool the way this turned out. I like even the Predator on the dims. That's a good one. Oh, and that's cool. Like, look, if you don't notice that the custom backplate, you can also see is alien inspired there with work, right? Artwork there. Michael says, wicked artwork, right? And there we go, just that shot. And there, the UV is really cool. So you can see that's a UV LED strip to nice give it a little bit of accent right there. I really love the way this turned out. It's a really cool build. I think it's really nicely done. It's not overdone in terms of adding too many elements to it, but has an overall really cool look to it, and really nice vibe. So, and I think a great use of the chassis. So overall, I think very, very cool build. Definitely gets a thumbs up for me. It's a really nice submission. I'm really happy with this. So let's go ahead and see what we've got in terms of the submission form. So let me go ahead and bring that up. And let me go ahead and put it back over on that system. Okay. All right. So let's see. So yeah, this is from Leonard Camarata. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly there. Technina PC is where you guys can check him out on in terms of YouTube. Not his first build. It actually was a sponsored build. Does the build have a theme? Yes. Aliens versus Predator. 3 words to describe the build is that you've got aggressive, aliens, and ROG. Does the build have a name? Alien, Xenomorph, Platinum versus Predator Maximus 13. I love that name. In terms of the core hardware here, we've got an ROG Strix Helios chassis. We have the Maximus 13 Apex motherboard, an 11900K processor, an ROG Strix 3090 graphics card. We then have the Thor 850 watt power supply in there. There's some Predator memory, Apollo RGB 32 gigabytes of it. Then we also have a GM7000 Gen 4 PCIe NVMe SSD, an ROG Strix LC2 360 millimeter AIO, UV mod hybrid LED cable mesh by Cable Mod. So I was right, it's Cable Mods. And then we also have Cable Mods custom washers, AIO sleeves, and thumb screws. So all the way around. And the LED strip is also Cable Mods. So a lot of stuff from our friends over at Cable Mods. About $4,000 probably around for the price point of the budget. What was he most proud of is the 3D printing, the sticker decals, the GPU backplate, and then ROG only. Add to that the RAM choice, right? And I think it looks fantastic right there. Is there anything they would change about the build? Not sure. Probably preferred a 1200 watt and a 12th gen, but the Apex 11th gen was better for aesthetics. Looks like the IO shield had been ripped apart by an alien, so he loves that design. And the platinum shining panel looks great. I agree. And still, 11900K on an Apex board using ASUS AIC, you can get a monster overclock out of that. It's still a really impressive system. Great for performance, right? How long did it take to build the system? With the concepting and the 3D printing, the final build all the way about a week. Oh, that's quite impressive. It's used for Overwatch. And then PC building simulator. So its favorite overall kind of ASUS feature and function is the ASUS Polymo lighting, as well as the anime matrix display that we have on our motherboards and different products. Overall, man, definite thumbs up for me. Very cool build. Love the overall execution. It's really nicely done. So very, very cool, guys. And again, you guys can check them out there. So very, very cool stuff. Let me go ahead and see what we got next here. All right, so give me 1 second here, and I will bring this up. Oh, actually, very cool. Hold on, guys. Let me go ahead and see if I can link you this here. So actually, you guys can actually check out a link in his video right here. And there's actually a cool little kind of like build guide that he went ahead and thrown up. So this is actually pretty cool. You can actually go ahead and see the system and actually get the little bit of a tour. So let's go ahead and throw it. Let's go live right here. We're going to throw that a thumbs up. We threw an official ASUS subscribed. You can go ahead and check this out. Very, very cool. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's actually pretty cool. Looks like some sanding work that was done there. I didn't even notice that there was sanding work that was on the front, right? Of course, got ads, right? But yes, overall, very, very cool. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to drop that link in the chat. So if you guys want, make sure to go ahead and send them over a like. Check out the video for all the work that went into that build. Very, very cool. Oh, hold on. Let me just show this off because I think this is pretty cool right here. Here we can see that cool just kind of just look on the actual back plate. The 3D printing right there for the alien head right there that came out really nicely. That backplate lighting. Overall, really, really nicely done. So this is a really cool setup. I think it turned out really, really nice. Great looking build. Okay, and let me go ahead and drop that link in there. And we will go. All right, so let's see what we've got next. Next up, we've got a no-name build. So from Nicholas, let's see what we've got from Nicholas here. This is going to be Nicholas. Yes. Okay. And all right. So, we're keeping the theme kind of dark and black here. So here, let's see what we've got. We can definitely see that we've got Venom being the inspiration right here. I'm a bit more of a fan of DC than I am of Marvel, but I definitely am a fan of both properties and their characters. And this one is really cool done. So let's see. Really nicely laid out. I think I like the amount of breathing room. I like the subtle amount of lighting here. Didn't go heavy on the lighting. So giving you, again, strong contrast, which I'm always a big fan of, right? So we're getting a little bit of that play there where we can see that we've got nice, just kind of like a little bit of halo accenting right here. A little bit of backfill. I think this was a good choice right here. I could go back and forth. Like I'm wondering if maybe you would have kept the fan black here, if that would have blacked that out and then allowed this lighting to pop just a little bit more. But I do think the nice balance of having a little bit of light on that side and then a little bit light in the front still works out well. We can see right here, we've got the Ryujin. And this is the Ryujin 2, same cooler I've got right here on my build. Nice little cool, taking advantage of that 3.5-inch huge display that we have there, and keeping the Noctua IPPC fans there. So nice high performance based fans. I like the little gradient that you've got running there on the Dominator memory. And then of course you've got that big, beautiful light bar in white on the ROG Strix card. Really nice job on the custom cables and the sleeving, all just going with that clean black. Looks really, really nice. This looks like probably the paracord based cabling. Overall, this is really clean, well executed, and a nice layout. I've got nothing to niggle at here. Looks really nice. Of course, this angle shot looks cool. You can see right here, you've got a little bit of the fresh mint intake, which of course helps to complement the overall look and feel for the system right here. You can see all the cabling's done nice and clean. Of course, with the shroud at work, nothing to comment on there. And overall, everything's run pretty nicely here too. Even though you've got some of those cables, you can see that we've probably channeled some stuff here, back through this area. This area is kind of being routed right here. You can see with the cables probably going through the back right there to the overall controller. Nice and clean and tidy down here as well. Really overall, nothing to niggle at. I mean, the one that you would always comment on would be whether or not you would go with either the cables going over or under, and I think they look fine under, so no issues in that regard. Overall, very nicely done. Let's go ahead and take a look here at give me a second. Let me go ahead and take a look at the submission form. Hey, Rick Star, happy to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Michael says, the white fan works. Yeah, I agree. I think that the white fan gives you just a little bit of that kind of subtle little lighting and illuminates this little area. I just always wonder, because sometimes some people go overboard, but I like the fact that there's actually not any lighting over here. I think playing a little bit and give you a little bit of that shadow and contrast works well in terms of kind of the look and feel for the system. So I'm a fan of this, and I think this little balanced symmetry from fan here and fan here works well. And I also like a little bit of this kind of white and black balance, where the chassis is white, you got the black interior, but then you still have the white right here. And you can see how just kind of the contrast again between the pop right here and the rest of the system, it works well. And then this little bit of blue that I love, kind of just the way balances out to, again, to give a little bit of that contrast. So that's kind of cool, because black and blue actually are very much complementary, right? Sometimes those navy colors, they have elements of black and blue. So you have kind of that really nice vibe there going. Let's go ahead and take a look at submission form here. Okay, so let's see here. This is from Nicholas, and not his first build, not a sponsored build. Does the build have a theme? Yes, Marvel's Venom. 3 words to describe the build would be first serious build. There's no name for the system, so if you guys want to name it, why don't you go ahead and name it? Can we call it Eddie Brock? Would that be okay? And let's see, go ahead and see. In terms of our part list configuration, we've got a Ryzen 5 5600X. Definitely a lot more cooler than you need for a Ryzen 5 5600X, but definitely you can take advantage of going with a nice PBO2 and being able to fine tune that, get a little bit more boost behavior out of it, right? And then also get dial in kind of that nice curve. He's running it on an ROG Strix X570-E gaming motherboard. He's got 16 gigabytes of Corsair Dominator 3600 CL18 memory, then a 256 PCIe NVMe SSD, and then a 2 terabyte mechanical hard drive, an ASUS 3080 OC based graphics card, ROG Strix graphics card, and that's all inside of a Fractal Design Meshify 2 compact white chassis, and then an 850 watt power supply powering that system. It's a nice, well-balanced system. It's going to be, you know, quiet, reliable, high performant, not going to really overspending on any core component. Probably a little bit more cooler than you need, but definitely helps to keep the system really quiet. Plus, you get the really cool display, so that's nice in that regard. About $2,500 in terms of the budget. Overall, he was most proud of the overall look and how well the white and the black complemented each other. I definitely agree. Really nice combination, really nice balance. Anything you would change about the build? Switch out my case fans for the ROG Strix Helios. Switch out the case for the ROG Strix Helios White Edition. That'd be pretty cool. You definitely would be going to a bigger chassis. It'd have a lot more space in there. It'd also change a little bit probably of the design aesthetic, but unless you really need the space, nothing wrong with what you're running right now. How long did it take to build the system altogether? About 3 to 4 hours. Predominantly uses it for gaming, so some Destiny 2, some Cyberpunk, and Apex Legends. His overall favorite feature has definitely been adding custom gifts to the Ryujin 2 360 AIO. So very, very cool, man. Gets a definite thumbs up from me. Clean, well executed. I like it. All right. I like that. Eddie, I'm hungry. All right. So let's go ahead and head over to our next build here and see what we've got. All right. Oh, here we go. We've got one. Let me give it a little bit of drum roll from the one, the only, the masterclass builder himself. Snef has gone ahead and sent us over another amazing build to look at. You know, when it's Snef, he doesn't play. It's going to be good. It's going to be amazing. He's going to take it to the next level. That's just what he does. When you got that much skill, expertise, and creativity, you're always going to just really be blown away. And definitely, oh yeah, this is a beautiful looking system. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Let me actually bring up the submission form right away so I can have just a reference, have it right there. Okay, great. And let's go ahead and take a look. All right. So here we can see really, really cool already right off the bat. So I love, of course, the choice to be able to go with this white, and then we've got some transparency, right? And then blue. So really it's about white and blue, and then a little bit of kind of some contrast there with just subtle kind of tones in terms of the black and silvers, kind of complementing things from things like your fittings and of course from your screws, right? But beautiful details right here in terms of these little accents right here with the blue, looks like washers right there. That's a really nice just touch right there. And a really interesting layout choice. So we can of course see that we've got the motherboard in there in the back, right? So this is a Maximus formula board. So our first white series ROG motherboard. And then you've got this crazy block, right? This is a really interesting block design because it's going on top of the board. I don't know that I've necessarily almost ever seen something like, it's almost like glacial-like in a way, but it's on this formula. And then it also even kind of is integrated within the way that the block works for the GPU, with the GPU being vertical. It's a really interesting aesthetic. So normally I would really love to let the motherboard shine, but I think what he's done here is to create, again, what I think Snef does really well is to create a complete kind of comprehensive feel. You know, Nordic 3D does a great job of this. AK Mod does a great job of this. You know, Overchill PCs. There's some builders that really, when they kind of look at things, Mod Cafe, they do a brilliant job at kind of really figuring out the whole look and feel. So sometimes it's not just about showing a certain piece of hardware, but it's trying to create a specific feel and look for the entirety of the system. And I definitely think that that's what he's achieved right here with this really kind of interesting kind of concentrated reservoir block, which is crazy because I mean, look how it extends out here. Then I love just seeing the, of course, the silver accents all throughout here, and then that just kind of runs through. So really, really cool. And I love this little bit of kind of diffused look that you have, the sense that you can kind of see in. You can still see the board kind of there in the background. You can still see the memory, and then you can also still see those cables all nicely, cleanly routed. And then you've got that beautiful GPU with just that nice, clean, simple block. Bam, you're good to go. So really, really interesting, just kind of layout choice. So let's see. Michael says, looks ready to transform. Very clean, sterile. I'm really digging the look. Snef himself, of course, is here. So he says, thanks a lot. Yeah, I would definitely agree. Suman says, love the build, master builder and designer. H2O Computers is giving us this system is sick, Snef. Love that distro, right? I would definitely agree. Whoa is just a good way to do it. So let's jump a little bit more into it. Looking at it from the side, I love even the way that it looks at it from the side. Almost the side is even better in some ways because you see some depth and contrast. I really love being able to see this custom distro work. So this is really kind of what a lot of the, I think, best builders in the game is differentiating themselves is by using customized distros, right? That they're designing themselves to complement the look and feel. And we can see a really beautiful work right here, right? Where this distro has gone in this one layer right here, and then we've got another one right here. So there's actually one layer, a second layer, and then the third layer. So you have 3 different layers that give it kind of a different vibe, right? Which when you're playing around with lighting, that's a really kind of interesting way that you might not think about how it plays out, but it does definitely play out. Very, very, very cool. And then, of course, beautiful routing, made it really clean, really nice, just beautiful cables, right? That just looks fantastic. And then the lighting, I love that. So now you add in a little bit more pop right here with just the lighting now starting to come on. And that gives it, like almost somebody said, ready to transform. It's got a little bit of almost like a robot feel, right? I love this little just glow that we have going on right here. This little glow that we have going on right there too. I love that you added in. That's really cool. I don't know that I've always seen that in your work. You actually adding in the SNEF computer design. So that's really cool to be able to show that you've got actually something by SNEF. And you can actually see right here, guys, if you're not noticing it, right? One of the hallmarks of the formula, you don't need it because the VRM is really high performant. It's already got a massive actually heat sink that's copper on the inside there that can run passive or active. But you can actually see that he's gone ahead and utilized it. So this block integrates and has gone into the cross chill, and then we're also cooling the CPU, right? And then you can see how it's running out to there, that then it goes into this other block, right? So you can see how it's all tied in together. This is really slick in terms of how he's bridged this all together, right? So it's going into the top rad up here, then we can see CPU right there, we've got GPU right there, right? It's a really cool, really actually I think elegant solution. And even this is kind of cool where you can still see there's accessibility to get the things like the buttons right here and the memory. I didn't know that you were going to still be able to access that, but from another angle it looks like almost like you can't see it. So that's really, really slick in terms that it's able to be done in a functional layout. And you can actually still see it's still really well laid out. You can still see you got all your cables right there that you can still access. Those buttons up there you could still access. And of course, everything is really nicely accessible right there. Johnny Boy saying almost like a white yacht in the ocean. El Honda is giving us a great contrast. Also really clean. Yeah. Sue Min's giving us SNEF does a really good job, incredible job on custom builds and distro blocks. He needs to start selling them, and I'm online to buy one. Yeah, that's beautiful work, right? And then we add in just a little bit lighting there at the end, and fantastic. So again, you know, hats off, man, SNEF, just another fantastic build. It's beautiful. It's, you know, what we expect from you, really just a stunning kind of masterclass build. Always bringing a level of fit, finish, and polish, and consistently evolving, you know. That's what I love. It's like, you know that it's SNEF, but he's also done so many different builds in so many different ways that it's always not the same thing. And I always appreciate that. I appreciate kind of the willingness to be always kind of pushing yourself and trying something different, you know. Like, even though me, I like a lot of consistency and things being very much the same. Very, very cool. Beautiful job. Really, really nice build. So let's go ahead and just take a look here at the submission form and see what we got going on. So let's see. Does the build have a theme? There was actually overall no theme. I love how he says that, no theme, but you can see that there's totally a comprehensive look and feel to the system. 3 words to describe the build: modern, non-conventional design, and less tubing as possible, right? And that's one of the things that totally, I didn't even comment on that, but totally, right? Where's the tubing? This is a water-cooled system, right? And where's the hard line? Where's the soft tubing? It's like, let me do the tubing, and I'm going to do all the tubing through distros. That's like, it's such a cool way. But like I said, that makes sense in terms of, like I said, that layered approach where he's using the Z height to go from one to another, right? And that's actually channeling all into each other. And it's a really cool, interesting way to design it. It's actually something that we've thought about internally on a concept chassis that we've been thinking about internally, is actually a concept like this. Instead of having to ship any type of tubing, we've actually looked at a similar type of concept like this. So it's very, very cool. Does the build have a name? No name. So why don't you guys say it? Why don't you guys name the build in the chat? Let's name the build. Hardware, it's a 12900K in there on a Maximus Z690 formula and ROG Strix 3090, 1000 watt ROG Strix power supply. We've got 64 gigabytes of T-Force Delta white memory. It's all in the chassis is an Antec Torque powder coated white, of course, beautiful white job that's been done there. All EK water cooling hardware, including the vertical GPU mount, and then of course we have to make sure to highlight the fact that all those distro plates, those are custom distros and reservoirs by SNEF. Then Clockwork Industries cables, including cable combs and panel combs. Custom cables by SNEF himself in terms of those cables that you see right there. And then custom powder-coated Antec Torque and EKWP GP vertical mount. So that's the reason why This right here, you can see this is why this looks so clean and consistent with the rest of the chassis, is because that's also been powder coated. So it's beautifully finished to be a matched, consistent experience, so where you don't see it kind of being different from another component. And I can tell you that from a manufacturing perspective, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have when we try to match components one thing to another. Super, super challenging. What aspect is most proud of the build? The reservoir and the distro. These add to the design of the formula and the antique torque case. Is there anything they would change about the build? Maybe add some little silver design to the GPU block. I think that could be interesting. I think it looks fantastic, but I could see maybe adding some little accents. That could be kind of interesting. So time frame, 40 hours to build and around 40 hours to design and cut all the distro, reservoir, and custom panels. So we're talking about probably over 80 hours. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sniff is probably being conservative, probably lost a couple of hours just thinking about here, doing this planning here, or something like that. So 80 hours at a minimum, right? The system is predominantly used for gaming, Destiny 2, CSGO, Rainbow Six Siege, and some Valorant. His favorite ASUS function feature. He's really talked about so many different things that he's a fan of, from our designs to the UEFI to the BIOS to Armored Crate. Here he highlights of course, really loves the Formula series and that EKVRM water block and the pure white look of the Formula motherboard. Sneff, as it says, man, it's a masterclass build. Hats off to you. It really is a beautiful build. Fantastically done. So let's see if we got any names that might have popped up in there. Let's see. Michael asked, I don't know, Sneff, if you're still there. Oh, wait, did I have that in the submission form? Let me see. Did I miss it? I don't know if I missed it there. Sneff, if you can say what the estimate on the price range was for this build. Michael says, where are the bends to comment on? There are no bends because that's what he did. He did the water-cooled setup through distros. That's brilliant, right? Jacob says, I need that. Great job, Sneff. I think that's a pretty cool name, Project Tsunami. It definitely has like a vibe to it, right? That's water oriented. So yeah, Project Tsunami. I think that's pretty cool. Rick Star says Extreme Epic. Oh, okay. Sneff actually says updated name. The name of the build is Crystal. Crystal. That totally makes sense, especially with the transparency of the distros. That works really, really well. So Sniff telling us right here, a bit more than 10K, right? But again, consider the custom powder coating. I mean, the cost of the hardware alone is, we're talking about a very high-end system, but then the powder coating, the custom distro, the time and effort and labor right here, it's literally like buying a full custom boutique system, right, from one of the absolute best builders, modders in the game. So stunning piece of work, man. Fantastic. All right. Very, very cool. That was an awesome build. All right, so let's see. Next up here, we've got Purple Heat over from TM Custom. All right. I think this is a small form factor build, if I remember. Excuse me. All right. Have a little sip of water. All right. Yep, this is a small form factor build. I love being able to have a kind of range of systems on here. So this is really cool. And it actually has a really similar vibe to Crystal, right? From Sniff's side, right? Where we got white, we got blue in here, and it's water cooled, right? I'm really digging this kind of look here. This actually has perforations, so it's actually kind of similar to our AP201 chassis that we announced a little bit ago that we're going to be coming out with, but it's going to be, of course, a little bit larger than this. It's a micro ATX chassis, but a cool little aesthetic, a little bit rise feet right there. We've got a nice little bend and curve right there. I think these are the noise blocker fans, if I'm seeing these. Yeah, I think these are noise blocker. I love these little accents right here, just to be able to add some customized washers. We can see some beautiful, nice, clean combs right here, along with some custom cables. Of course, all these little white fittings. Really nice job to be able to tightly kind of pack it all in there. And then some LED lighting in there. Now here, I can see that these are probably not diffuse strips. I think I might have preferred diffuse strips just to give it a little bit of a softened edge, just because it's going through the perforation, which is going to make it seem just a little bit harsher, but this still looks fantastic. I do not want to take away from the look and feel. I think, though, I just may have maybe gone with a diffuse strip. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Ooh, I'm liking this. So we can see right here, There's our, of course, our graphics card, nice clean cable, beautiful combs right there running in. Of course, there we've got our res. The pump, we've got, it looks like probably like a Team Force SSD that's in there, right? Their ARGB SSD, really nicely done. This is all super clean, really nicely laid out. And then we pull it back. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, this is really nicely done. Always a challenge to work in systems these small, right? You can see, of course, that cool block, right, being shown off right there. Some nice jobs here in terms of kind of the fittings going up, right? Not covering the graphics card, right? Making sure to give yourself some nice visibility. I wonder where he's got his drain port in this system, right? This is really tight in here, but I love this little kind of job right here in terms of giving this little bit of diffusion and then having the SSD. That's a really nice, clean, tight look. Again, look how tight you've had to run everything here. Here's the SATA power. Here's the data. And there's the RGB cable, right, that you've all had to pack in there. This shot's really cool, really nice to be able to kind of see it all in there, along with the radiator and then with the fans. And now we flip it over to the other side, and we can see, again, really cleanly and nicely done. We've got Team Force memory in there as well. I love these DIMMs. Some of my absolute favorite DIMMs on the market right here from Team Force have this really beautiful white diffused aesthetic. Interesting here, he didn't connect the USB-C. I'm wondering why, because the chassis has USB-C, if I remember. Yeah, you got USB-C there, so it's not connected. So I wonder why that wasn't connected. But we can see really nice setup right there with an ROG Strix board. I love the look of this block. I love seeing this little bit of this kind of like black and then also the copper. I think it's a really cool kind of aesthetic. And then some really nice bends. This is a very clean bend going around the memory right here, then going back over, right? And then this nice little just job, nice and efficient customization, right, to be able to access everything. Of course, you're blocked off from really being able to access the M.2, so you got to install it. You can see that riser cable has been tightly weaved in, right, just to pass over against the noise blockers. But this is beautifully done. It's a great example of a high-performance, compact mini ITX water-cooled system. So pretty sweet right here. Let's go ahead and see some commentary that we've got right here from everybody right here. Oh, Snef giving us an oh, he likes it. Very clean. Coming from Snef, I'll definitely take that as a nice thumbs up. Michael saying he loves the colors. The purple and the distro and the block look really sick. I agree. I think that little bit of that kind of purple blue vibe, it just nicely kind of complements that white, and it shows you having kind of a purposeful color scheme can really, really be cool. Jacob saying, I couldn't afford any of that, right? You know, a lot of builds, you know, it's about just taking your time, right? I myself, you know, in the past, I, you know, had to, you know, span parts, you know, and some people, you know, it takes them a whole year. We've had people on the PCDIY stream submit systems, and it's like, it took me a year and a half to be able to get to my system, 2 years to get to my system. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some, you know, everybody's got different budgets. They have different financial situations, right? So sometimes it's just a process, right? Let me go ahead and put the side-by-side here because it's a little bit hard to show off this whole system. So I want to put a side-by-side here of the front and the back while I bring up the submission form, just so we can kind of get a sense of the system as a whole here. So let me go ahead and there we go. So there we go. So there's like a little bit of a side-by-side, so we can kind of see them there. I think that kind of works right there. So there you can kind of see cool little kind of side-by-side from both of the systems. And let me go ahead and see if I got his form here. Okay, so first and last name. So this is from TM Custom. And you guys can go ahead and check them out on Instagram, as well as you can go ahead and check them out on Facebook, as well as on YouTube. So this was a sponsored based build. Let's see right here is that does the build have a theme? I wanted the best performance in the smallest space and the whole thing paired with a custom loop. 3 words to describe the build is small, smart, and silent. Does the build have a name? Yes, called Purple Heart. So let's see. In terms of the core hardware we've got right here, this is all inside of a Lan Li Q58. It's a Ryzen CPU in there on a B550-I gaming motherboard. He's got the Extreme ARGB white DDR4 memory and also the Delta Max White RGB based SSD. It's a RTX 3070 graphics card, water cooled in there. In terms of the SSD, it's a Crucial P5 1TB PCIe NVMe SSD. It then has an 850 watt SFX based power supply from Cooler Master, the white edition. Custom loop is from AlphaCool and Baiski. Coolant is 80% Corsair Hydro X Violet and then 20% EK Indigo Violet. Interesting. So he's running a mix to be able to get that. Usually you don't want to mix coolants, but that's kind of interesting. It definitely has a really cool aesthetic to it. So that's pretty cool. I know Nordic 3D, one of my also favorite builders, he actually does everything through the pigment. And so he custom creates his own colors and then just adds that to the base. And that's how he actually gets to really kind of nice color combinations. And that way you don't have to worry about mixing the different ratios of kind of different additives that might be between two different coolants, right? But the purple definitely has a really cool vibe to it. Overall price of the system, it's about $2,500. What aspect is he most proud of? Integrating a water cooling system and an extremely compact space. And I would agree. It's impressive and it's cleanly done, right? The routing, the bending, the lines, all really well done in terms of integrating a nice high performance base cooling design here. Anything you would change about the build? Nothing you would change. About 3 days to put it together. That's a really nice timeline to be able to do that. What is the system used for? Just YouTube videos and a review for Igor's lab. All right, I like that. That's pretty cool. Favorite ASUS features or functions. I like all the ASUS and ROG software. Everything can be nicely monitored and adjusted and just allows for a nice, clean experience. Man, Pascal, this is a fantastic build. It's beautifully done, and my hats come off to you, man. It's a great looking build. I love the way that it turned out. For me, I'm a big fan of small form factor systems. It's the type of system I'd love to be able to have because you could have a high level of performance. It's cool. It's going to be quiet. And it's got that really nice aesthetic. And I really love that you can kind of pop up the window and kind of show it off to people, but at the same time, close it up and have it be a bit more subdued, right? So pretty sweet. Definitely a very, very cool build. All right. So that is going to be another great build. Man, we've just been smashing it out today. So let's see here. I think we still have a couple of builds left here. Let me go ahead and see what we got next here. All right. Yep, we got 2 builds left. So let's see here. We've got Red Eye Bandit from Jeremy. All right. Oh, actually, I really liked it the way that this build came out. There were some decisions here that were made where sometimes I'm a little bit like I'd prefer a different direction. And actually, I like the way that they turned out. I thought they were pretty cool. So let's go ahead and take a look here at Red Eye Bandit. First up, oddly enough, I didn't actually order these. We got the cable management. So nice, clean cable management. We can see that we've got an RG Strix power supply. We've got some Corsair RGB. That's always a challenge. Tons of cables to go with, but this is really nicely and cleanly laid out. So kudos. Well done. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Oh, wow. Okay, so we got a nice big broad shot. Wow, we've packed in a lot of fans here. So we can see we got fans here. We got fans at the top, and then we got a push-pull fan configuration all the way here at the front. And interesting, we've gone with the LEDs all around, right? And these are not diffused. So we're going to have a very bright. Now, normally I prefer diffused lighting, but I'll say there's something that actually kind of worked out in the end here with having just this fixed light parameter, even though it's bold and bright and kind of focused as opposed to a diffuse tip, which I prefer. I still think it turned out really cool. So I say this is where it's always cool. It's PCDIY. It's do what you like, right? So here we can see really nice, clean cable routing done right here, right? We've got an RG Strix LC. I love the nice little just detailing right here where the cables, they've been slowly kind of just sloped onto each other to bend nicely and then route them through the top of the pump and then out through the back right here. Nice, clean cables, right, with this white, red, and black. This is really nicely done. This nice little swoop over to also hold the cable in from the, of course, the radiator. That's nicely done. And then even this little swoop and this is very nice and clean, just coming down, swoops down, goes down under here, and this nice little graphics card holder. Clean, really nice and clean and well executed. So bam, there we go. We just dropped it on you. We just went from RGB to no RGB, right? And like I said, it's definitely bright, but I love the classic ROG kind of red and black color aesthetic. And here, this is a bold, bright red and black color scheme that I just think looks really cool. Red is always one of the hardest to pull off in terms of pictures, and I think is actually probably even looks just cooler in person. It's got that really kind of just powerful and warm feeling to it. And again, I'm actually not opposed to the symmetry of just the red lighting right here. I normally do prefer diffused lighting, but actually I think that the points actually kind of work right here of almost creating this kind of like framed silhouette and kind of focusing in those lights to kind of be, this is the center of this rig, right? This, this red eye bandit, right? And here's the red eye, right? And it's the red eye bandit. So it works. Then right here, you've got all the red accents. The only thing is that maybe if you could tailor just a little bit of the brightness to give you a little bit of contrast, to get a little bit more of the black to show, I think would be a nice benefit. And that would also allow a little bit of this to punch up a little bit. So maybe if you could kind of bring down some of that brightness value just a little bit, I think that would be beneficial. But otherwise, I really do like the way that this turned out. And so here we can see a little bit of an alternating vibe with going with white, which I think looks really cool, really clean in terms of giving you, again, the contrast between the black and the white. And then you still have that third accent color within the red, which looks pretty cool. You can also see the red right here. A little bit of a black and white shot. And then we've got the full system, got the total ROG vibes going on right here. Looks really cool. We've got the Delta headset. We've got the throne. We've got the flare. It looks like, I think that's the Gladius, nah, might be the Chakram actually. I got your ROG Swift monitor right there, and then your full gaming system set up pretty sweet. Overall, really, really cool. And then even some RGB vibes. So, of course, it allows you to go with different different routes, right? You can go ahead and play around with it. I really like this shot. I think this shot's pretty cool. Actually, this is a lot like probably how I'd approach this system. I probably, like I said, would have gone different on the strips, but overall, pretty cool. As Jeep says, he actually likes the white. So the white, sorry, you like this route? Yeah, the white looks cool. I like it. I still think I prefer the red. That's just me because I just love the red and black aesthetic from ROG. But overall, it's clean. It's well executed. It's nicely done. I'm a big fan of it. So let's go ahead and take a look at his submission form here. And we'll see what we got going on. All right. So this, again, is going to be from Jeremy. From Rhino Rigs. You guys can check them out on Facebook. Rhino Rigs. And then the build have a theme, red and black theme to keep it consistent with my ROG Strix hardware. A little bit of white mixed in there too, just to add some accent to the color scheme. I would agree. 3 words to describe the build is crisp, clean, and consistent. Does it have a name? Red Eye Bandit. In terms of the core hardware right here, we've got a Corsair Crystal 570X Red, then an ROG X570 Crosshair 8 Hero motherboard, a 5900X in terms of a Ryzen 9. Then we've got an ROG Strix RX 6700 XT. So he's running Team Red. That's a little bit rare. We don't generally see as many AMD-based graphics cards, but that's cool because he also gets that full AMD ecosystem experience running on X570, RX 6000 series GPU, and Ryzen 5000 series. So you can take advantage of some cool features there. He's got 32 gigabytes of Corsair 3200 MTC16 memory, 850 watt power supply. Then he's running the ROG Strix 360 LC cooler. He's got a Corsair MP600 1 terabyte drive, and then also a 500 gigabyte drive, PCI NVMe drives. Then tons of those Corsair LL fans and SB fans that are set up in there. And then up here, cable extensions, as well as the up here GPU bracket. Overall, very nice configuration, about $2,500 in terms of the price point. You have to say what he was most proud of is I'd have to say that the performance I saw coming from this Strix 6700 XT right out of the box was impressive. He was already actually able to place 8th in the time benchmark in Canada. So that was pretty cool to see. Is there anything they would change about the build? You might swap out the RAM for some Corsair Dominator Platinums CL14 just for a little bit of tighter kind of timings. right? Took him about 5 to 6 hours to put it together. He uses it for gaming, streaming, and 3D printing. And he loves the ASUS X570 series of boards. They're his go-to boards right now. Having the start and restart button, the start and reset buttons on the board should be the standard going forward. And he loves just being able to, use the feature set on ROG class series motherboards. Man, Rhino Rigs, you did a fantastic job. It's clean, it's well executed. It's definitely my type of vibe. I'm really digging the build, man. So thanks so much for submitting this for the PC DIY Builder Spotlight, man. It's a cool build, and I like the approach that you took to it, man. So very, very cool. All right, so I think we've got one last build to wrap things out here, and it's going to be from our friends over at, let me see right here. I think, yeah, it's from ST, so Strategic Technologies, right? You guys know that they do some awesome builds, and they definitely brought it here. So let's go ahead and close it out with another killer build from Strategic Technologies. If you guys haven't seen, they do tons of builds, right? And some very cool stuff. So let's go ahead and close it out right here with a very cool build from them. This is going to be the white pink PC. So if you guys don't know about white pink, maybe go ahead and stream some, brighten up your weekend, relax a little bit, and enjoy yourself, some pop right there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look and see what we've got right here. ROG Strix is a good overclocker for sure. High wattage is very useful. Yeah, Johnny boy, you're right. Definitely ROG Strix cards. That's always one of the key mandates from us when we're designing and developing the cards, is a higher TGP and higher TBP. So higher total graphics power and total board power. So that, alongside a higher clock speed, allows us to go ahead and even get better performance than the standard stock. And then you combine that together with our high performance cooling solution, and of course you're going to get a great GPU experience, right? So here we've got a very cool build. I love the pink. Pink's one of my favorite colors to be able to do in builds. Sniff's still one of my favorite ones. I think the one that he did for his wife, the Fleur build, loved that pink and white contrast that this kind of brought me back right towards seeing it right here. And a really cool job right here. Some absolutely beautiful bends right here in this build right here. This is really hard to pull this symmetry because they didn't play it against themselves. I will say this, that when I do hardline builds, sometimes there's ways of cheating. And what I mean, I don't want to mean by cheating, but being sensible about the layout. You sometimes don't want to push yourself to be more challenging. They actually made this harder, because what you've done right here is, by putting them in essentially consecutive order and making them perpendicular to each other, you actually are forcing your eyes to look almost for a fault. So actually making sure that the depth and the curves and the bends are all in the right place so that they feel very symmetrical. Thumbs up, because that's not easy. It's actually quite challenging to be able to do that. And being able to see a comment like from Snep saying, really great tube run, I would definitely say that they did a job right. Fantastic right here. I think really impressive layout in terms of what they went here. So here they also did a cool job, right? They've integrated both to where they went with using the cross chill, right? And then they also have the actual CPU. So they did both, right? So that's very, very cool. Normally, you guys actually know, a lot of times I really like soft tubing, but this is kind of a build where you really show off the strength of why a hardline can give you some really cool aesthetic, because you're actually using much more of the space within a chassis, which would be a lot more difficult to do with, of course, a soft tube. So really, again, nice, beautiful bends right here. Nice, beautiful bends right here. You can see these little offsets, they're coming off, and of course, these angled offset fittings that we have right here. We still can have visibility to the OLED Live Dash panel, of course, the display right there. You can see that they've got right here at the top, they have a stat panel that has the Armory Crate built into it. So that's really cool. So you actually have the Armory Crate stat panel all visible to you right there, which is pretty sweet. And here, I think good use of the chassis. I'm not generally a fan of these type of chassis where you can't really kind of see the front. They don't have an identity to them. But I think this is one of the best kind of designs where you can really see the strength from the side profile. It allows you to use a lot of space visually. And so they've used a lot of that space to have a really cool aesthetic. Massive amount of water cooling, where you can see we've got a thicker than standard radiator. So this is like a double thick radiator right here. You got your fans. Then you got another radiator over here, more fans. You've got the custom distro over right here in the back, the distro plate. And then you've got all your tubing right there that's beautifully implemented. That G-Skill memory on that Maximus Z690 series board. And then that fan in the back, which normally is not always added, but I think it works beautifully right here to just give you a little bit of light there to pop into the back. So very, very nicely done. So here we can see from the front, nice, clean, well polished. Again, doesn't have that strongest presentation because we're looking at it not really from the optimal angle, but it's still cool. It's laid out in a way that I think it has a kind of interesting dynamic that almost makes you want to go, I'm gonna look at the other side, which is cool. So I really like that. These are really cool. These little biskis. I don't know if I've seen these before. These have a really cool aesthetic. I like that they're kind of diffused and they have lighting in them, and then you can see the coolant through them. That's pretty cool. And there you can see we've got some Blackpink going on. They're showing off, I think, one of the videos right there. And then, of course, just giving that little angle view going top down, and you can see the beautiful work at just running those cables right there from the GPU and then going down and then running them back in. That looks just really clean, really well executed. Again, over here, some nice cabling work. I love this. This is really cool. This type of design. So this, I think, is an active backplate kind of cooling design right here, which is really cool. So you actually are getting a shot of the top, and you get that also block with the coolant. So even if you were looking at it from the top, where normally you wouldn't have something that's visible, that's a really cool design aesthetic. I like the way that they played that out. And there we can see brightened up there, give you a little bit more white light. Cool thing too that they've added in here is you can see that they did install the Hyper M.2 add-in card. So that even gives them more flexibility to have more M.2 SSDs. So that's been installed on the system right there. Looks like Sumin says hard bandwidth, which is really good. As Jeep, it gives us a thumbs up, right? It's very, very nice. And overall, really slick. I mean, it's really nicely polished, really cool looking build. They did a fantastic job, but I'd expect that. And I love, even though that you can't see the bottom of the board, it's blocked off, that again, overall, the kind of total look and feel of the system is about this defined kind of tube layout that I think looks really cool, visually really strong, and of course goes with this black pink, right? It's really, really cool. Having the white, having the black, all tied in there, having that contrast, and even these little dots, right, from the ROG logo down there add a little bit of fill lighting, which is kind of cool. It just gives it a little bit of a different vibe. I'm going to leave it right there, bring up their submission form, and give me 1 second right here. Oops. All right. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here and see what's on the submission form. Okay. So from our friends over at Strategic Technologies, if you guys haven't checked them out, make sure to check them out on Facebook. They post all the time in our group. They're, of course, a builder. They do fantastic builds. And let's see. So the builds have a theme, white, pink. 3 words to describe the build is white, pink PC. This is all inside of course, an O11 DXL. And then from there, in terms of our core hardware, we're pretty much talking about a flagship series build, just very similar to like SNFs, right? We got a 12900K, a Maximus Z690 Formula motherboard, of course, with that white design aesthetic in there. We've got, wow, they're really pushing some memory right here. 64 gigs of DDR5 6400 CL36. So that's about, it's just about the fastest kit of memory you can get on the market right now. That's really impressive. That's a monster kit of memory. Then we've got 2 1 terabyte SN850 Gen 4 PCIe NVMe SSDs. So there's 2 of them in there. And then another, let's see, there's 5 total drives on this system. So we have 2 1 terabyte SN850s, and then we've got a 2 terabyte P2, another 2 terabyte P2, and another 2 terabyte P2 crucial PCIe NVMe drives. So there is, let's see, 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes, 6 terabytes, 7, 8 terabytes of PCIe storage in this system. You then have an RTX 3090 Strix graphics card, of course, water cooled, right, to be able to take it even further. Then a 1300 watt Seasonic Prime PX series power supply. We've got some AL120 fans that are in there, daisy chained and set up. Then, of course, that's all inside the O11 ROG certified Dynamic XL version of the chassis, a custom sleeve, pink and white cables that are in there. In terms of some of the block stuff, I want to touch on that because there were some interesting choices there. So we got the Barrow 042N V2 ARGB CPU block with the digital display. We then have the Barrow external expansion display, which is that guy right there, the 8.8-inch display. That's pretty sweet. And then there's a sync temperature monitor. There's the 011 distro plate, which is also from Barrow. The Barrow with the active block, which that's that block I told you I hadn't seen that one before, for the ROG Strix 3090, which looks really cool. Then Black Ice Nemesis 360 GTX radiator and 360 GTS radiators. So those are the two radiators, right? That we've got in there. Barrow compression fittings in white, adapter fittings in white, angle fittings in white, and then acrylic tubing is 14 millimeter that we've got on there, and then two flow indicators, and then Biski Coolant in pink. This is just very similar to actually Snef's build, around $10,000. So we got two builds alone in this stream, over 20K in terms of that. What aspect are you most proud of? The two bends, which I would 100%, you nailed it. They're fantastic. This is a masterclass build, and it shows the amazing work that you guys done. Is there anything they would change about the build? Nothing so far. About 10 days in terms of overall the time and effort to complete it. The client plays Valorant, Call of Duty, and occasionally does mining on it. And they're a big fan of overall ASUS ROG hardware, the software, Armory Crate, and the overall experience. And they do tons of stuff with ASUS ROG. So overall, man, really cool stuff, right? So fantastic. Yeah, grape tube runs from Snef, hard bend runs, really good, and a thumbs up. So that wraps up our stream, guys. That has just been a fantastic set of builds, a lot of cool stuff to be able to talk about. And as always, it's been great to be able to talk about your PC DIY builds here on the stream. So as always, if you guys want to submit your build, all you have to do is join our ASUS PC DIY group, send in your submission form, and you could be featured here on the stream. I'd love to be able to feature your build. So make sure to consider doing that. And also make sure to keep it tuned in the coming days and weeks. We've got some really cool announcements, not only in terms of hardware that's going to be coming up. It's going to be a packed summer with tons of stuff going on. So make sure to keep it tuned to the social media channels and to the PC DIY group, and maybe have some giveaways, some swag, maybe some shirts, maybe some other stuff. So with that, guys, take care, take it easy, enjoy the rest of your day. If you're working on a build or an upgrade or just enjoying your systems, stay safe, stay healthy, have a good weekend, take care, and you guys have a good weekend. All right, guys.